Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary.
Mary, can you believe we've been doing these deep dive breakdowns of past seasons since season 6?
I can't. That seems like a long time ago.
Been a long time, yeah. Back when this channel first started, basically. Here we are with season 25. We did podcast season 28 previously because the patrons did pick that on Patreon. By the way, all podcasts and videos are up to 7 months, up to several months early on Patreon. Link in the description for that. You can also join a fantasy leagues we do because we're doing those every Survivor season now. But the point is that here we are, season 25. We came back to it. It took place after One World, the first season in the Philippines. They got 3 tribes. They make a big deal about this. And they even label and scream tribes 1, 2, and 3. Mary, were you ever confused until you saw it said tribe 1? You're like, oh, that's what tribe this is.
No, I was never confused.
What do you think about the season overall?
I mean, overall, I think it's all right. It's not maybe the most exciting season, and it doesn't have maybe the most interesting characters or gameplay, but overall, average, in my opinion.
Average for you? I'd say it's above average for me. I think the first time through it was more fun. Some seasons are better on a rewatch. This season on a rewatch was a little bit more on the dull side. I know it's generally liked. I think it always ranks in like the top 10, maybe 12 of the season rankings that we do here on Once Upon an Island. So for me, it's above average, I would say. So if there's 48 seasons as of the time of us recording this, not to date it too much, I would say definitely above the middle. If the middle's 24 at that point, definitely above that. I don't know where exactly. I've never done a ranking of every season for myself, but above average. I enjoy it. There are moments, there are characters, nothing crazy that stands out in my mind. I know there's some fun facts about the season that never have happened before nor since. Like Denise attends every single tribal council and wins.
Crazy. Yeah. Pretty crazy fact.
Never happened as far as I'm aware outside of Denise. Watch me be wrong. Watch it have happened. But I don't recall anyone else going to every tribal and winning. So
I like the idols in this season. That's something unique.
The hidden idols?
Yes, that you haven't seen.
We haven't seen that since China when they hit them like on the archways, but no, they've never hit them on like the rice buckets. So only the second time I can think of where it's like an idol in plain sight that everybody knows about up through this point in Survivor. And even as we talk about modern Survivor in our podcast, we go through each season, I'm still like, I wish this should occur more often.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I know that, and this is not spoiled, there is one season where they do make an idol obvious to everybody by putting it in like in a cage. Doesn't play as well, in my opinion. Like it was kind of whatever, but we're not really here to talk about future seasons, just saying that they do something like this again in the future, but this is something I feel like more often. I would love if like every season there was an idol like somewhere in plain sight. And then, because it creates drama. Everyone's like, where did the idol go? Where did the idol go?
Right. Or even if you don't know it's an idol. Exactly.
Why did this change? Oh no. Yeah, it creates good drama. Okay, so we have 3 tribes. First time since season 8, they've had 3 tribes. We have 3 returnees. We have Jonathan Penner, who played in Cook Islands, was a villain that season, played on Micronesia, got pulled early due to an infection in his knee. A villain, maybe. He definitely had a whole thing with Suri where they were at odds and Suri ended up being a hero that season. So you could say villain. This season, I would say Penner's not a villain. No. This is his redemption arc in terms of story. What did you think about Jonathan Penner this season, Mary?
I did like him a lot more in this season. I feel like, I don't know, he's one of those names that you hear a lot as being kind of like a Survivor icon, if you will. And I didn't quite get it in Suri's season when I watched it. But I did enjoy his gameplay in this one. I felt like he really did have great relationships with people. Now, he did make some big mistakes along the way, but all of his mistakes were made like he took risks. So he would take risks, and a lot of his effort was with relationships. And yeah, he made mistakes with his relationships, but he tried. He did not sit back at all and just let things happen. So I enjoy his gameplay. I think he did a really great job.
This season, despite the target on his back, was his best chance to win out of all 3 seasons he's played on. So I like Penner a lot. I feel I relate to him a lot in terms of who I see on the show. And of course, this season has the infamous, which we'll get to later, scene where he talks about how Survivor's a story, which was super influential to this channel in terms of thinking of how I thought about the show. We have Russell Swan back from Samoa. He passed out during episode 6, if I recall correctly, of season 19, where he was overworking himself for his tribe. His tribe was dominating.
Mhm.
Up until Russell got pulled from the game, his tribe dominated. They lost one immunity, but they were knocking out Foa. And I think that if Russell Swan had made the merge and didn't get pulled for a medical evacuation, that tribe and how that season plays out is totally different. I bet you a Galoo member wins.
Right.
But he did get pulled. And it was one of the craziest medical evacuations we've seen, where he passed out on the challenge. Comes back this season. It's almost like Russell has never seen Survivor outside the one season he was on. Like, to be frank with you, that's what it seemed like to me. What did you think about Russell Swan?
Yeah, I did not enjoy his return. Like, if I would have just seen his first season, I would have always had like this really nice image of him in my head, the way he's portrayed in his first season. But this season, yeah, it's frustrating to see someone consistently say one thing over and over and over, and then their actions don't line up. And even when they admit it still doesn't change. And like, people are people make mistakes, but it was just like, that was all you saw of him in this season, was how he didn't want to be the leader, and yet he was leader. And I'm sure there were other aspects of him that happened. Like, I'm sure he might have had genuine connections with people at some point, but it was just kind of cringy to watch him fail very hard in his social game. And it was, a little disappointing, because I really liked him in his first game.
Fun fact, his wife told him not to play this season, and he did it anyways. And had he listened to her, he would have been remembered as a hero.
Yeah.
So
sometimes we know what's best.
Mary's like, I was ready. Sometimes the wife knows what they're talking about. That's what Mary's saying. She is my wife, so has layers to that joke. The third returnee is Michael Skupin. Now, we will talk about what he did after the game very briefly. We're here to talk about the season, but it'd be impossible almost not to mention what happened. So let's just talk about Skupin on the show. Skupin on the show, to me, was like, he fell into the fire in his first season. And I know you've never seen his first season, Mary, as far as I recall. His first season, he was a mess. He was generally not liked. He was kind of a crazed madman. And then he gets pulled. So everyone's like, oh no, Skupin, I love Skupin. But like, before the fire, he was not loved.
Right.
He would do prayers to God that were reminding me of Coach, only in retrospect, because Coach obviously came much later, where it's like, this is really just a prayer about you. This is we're not really praying to God.
Right.
We're praying about, you're trying to send a message to the rest of your tribe by you praying out loud. Yeah, that's the kind of guy Skupin was. So when he came back this season, I'm like, I don't really, even before I found out what he did afterwards, I was like, it's okay. It's okay.
He's not a great player, just purely based on Survivor.
He's not even that fun of a character.
Right. His only interesting fact was that he fell into the fire and burned his hands.
He had never fell into the fire.
You'd never see him.
He might have gotten asked back, but like, I don't even know. I think the only reason he made it back on Survivor is because of that. Right? If that had never happened, I don't think he would have been asked back for second chances when they got to vote for, and maybe again. So yeah. So very briefly, Mary, I'm going to catch you up. I know I told you very briefly before, but long story short. So Survivor Philippines films in the summer of 2012, airs 2012. The finale's like December 2012. Keep that contextually in mind.
Okay.
March of 2013, a few months later, he gets busted for like 20 car violations, moving violations, parking violations, some sort of like automobile violations that he's racked up since like 99. Like, gets busted for this. Then is listed by the city of Detroit, like on their, like, they publicly shamed him because they thought he was running a Ponzi scheme with his foundation that he had created called Pay It Forward.
Okay.
That's 2013. That all happened 2013. 2016, he is investigated for that Ponzi scheme. And while investigating for the Ponzi scheme, they find out he has a lot of child inappropriate material that you do not look at. It is inappropriate. I don't want to say the word because I don't know if YouTube is triggered. I've heard that they do.
Gotcha.
Child P. There you go. Okay. Gets busted for that in 2016, goes to jail, gets pulled out on parole in 2017. And it's just like, yeah, it's like impossible to not think about how bad of a person Skupin was while watching this. Cause like, this is only 6 months before, 6 months before he got busted for the violations and the Ponzi scheme. Like, we're talking like this is a year at most before all that, but he was already doing it.
Right. That's unfortunate.
Yep. So we do not like Skupin. I didn't really care for Skupin before. I really don't care for him now. So when we talk about him during the podcast, we're just referring to the season. But just know that if we speak positively about him, we are not endorsing Scoopin as a person.
Right.
Because people have very strong feelings about this. And I want to make sure that you know we're on the same page with you. We do not endorse Scoopin. All right. So brand new location in the Philippines. I do like this location. We talked about during Cagayan. Cagayan for seasons 27, 28, it's a different part of the Philippines. Seasons 25 and 26, different part of the Philippines from that. And I actually prefer this part of the Philippines over 27, 28, though with how much rain happened this season, I wonder if that's why they picked a different part of the Philippines for 27, 28.
I can imagine, because it looked pretty miserable. I mean, we've seen Survivor seasons where the rain is miserable. And this is one that like ranks up there, in my opinion.
It was gray a lot. It was raining a lot. People, which it's not conducive to gameplay if people are just sitting in caves or under their shelter. It doesn't help the story.
Right. It's hard to play the game when you're just all locked up in the shelter like that.
But when it doesn't rain, it's really pretty. Like I really like this location when it wasn't raining. And I haven't watched 26 in quite a few years, but we're going to watch that one next. Malcolm, of course, the only person from the season to return for 26. Abby Maria will be back for 31.
Oh boy.
Can't think of anyone. Denise obviously back for Winners at War. That's top of my head. It's all I can remember who returns from the season. So yeah, Abby Maria comes back. Oh, Abby Maria coming back, by the way, in the future will stop RC. RC was supposed to come back as well. And when she found out Abby Maria was coming back, she said, no, I'm good. I don't want to play. Like, I'm dead serious. That was going to happen.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, that was going to happen. RC was supposed to come back. Found out Abby Maria's come back. She's like, no, I'm okay. So anyways, 3 tribes. We are here in the Philippines. I like this location. I think next season, what I was trying to say for 26 is that I think there's less rain and therefore you see more of the beauty of this location. But this season, yeah, there's a lot of rain. We have the opening where it's like grab stuff, jump off the boat. We've seen this bunch in Survivor.
60 seconds.
Couple things to note here. Penner already lipping with Jeff, already telling him, 6 seconds or what? And he's like, you got to get off the boat. But like, I don't know. Jeff really never answered his or what question.
Right.
Or what? What are you going to do if I take 62 seconds?
Probably just take away whatever it is you were trying to get. I would imagine. Like if you're staying on the boat for another extra second to get another whatever coconut, you
just
don't get
claim
that.
You didn't hear Jeff.
Sure.
What? You said what?
Yeah. I can see Penner doing that.
Yeah. Kent, I'm going to have to call him Kent because we got Jeff Probst and Jeff Kent. So Jeff Kent, the baseball player, retired baseball player, pulls his leg during this challenge or during this opening thing. I think it's brought up a couple times throughout the season, but doesn't seem to ever have an effect. So I don't think he theorized that he may have tore something, but I think had he would not have performed as well as he did in challenges later on.
Yeah. I would imagine.
It was a lot of hubbub for nothing. They really liked Jeff Kent because how popular he was and they were expecting a villain. But I feel like Jeff Kent was more low key, actually. He played actually a very low key game for most of the season.
Yeah, he was mainly just a villain when he left. Because Obama and his...
Mary didn't hear me reference that 30 times.
Yeah, he only said it every single episode.
Every single episode.
It should be burned in my brain, but...
You know, I made $60 million playing baseball, and I want this freaking $1 million so bad. And it's not even $1 million. It's $600,000 after Obama takes it. And in this, there's an extended final words that you get on the DVD, which I'll include when I do a story video, because he did get picked. Where he goes more into that. But yeah. That's the shorthand version. It's also really funny because that episode aired the day after Obama got reelected. So it was perfect timing to have someone rant about Obama. Like they could have asked for better timing, frankly. Anyway, so Swan can't help to be but a leader. We mentioned that on Matt Singh. He's like, oh, I'm here. I'm not going to be the leader. Like, as I said, it's like Swans only saw his first season, which had a season where they elected leaders because it's not normal to elect leaders. This season doesn't have leaders. But Swan's like, I don't want to be the leader. I don't want to be leader. I don't be leader. Well,
he kept talking about how he knew it was going to put a target on him and he didn't want to be the guy that was bossing everyone around.
Yeah.
But like, are there other seasons where there's, I mean, I feel like he could have watched other seasons where there was leaders and then he recognized it in himself when he watched his own season.
When people acted as leaders, because it's not like an elected thing every season. That was just like his one season.
Right. Or maybe somebody just told him, hey, you know, as a leader, you might get a big target. I don't know. But no matter how many times he said it in confessional or to his tribe, he couldn't stop himself.
He was beloved his first season before he got removed. People were like, I like Swan. I want to do what he says. Shambo was, I think, was the only dissenting voice who said she didn't like Russell Swan because she wanted to be leader, but it wasn't for really any of the reasons. She just wanted to be a leader because she's Shambo.
This is like one of the perfect cases of it really depends on who you're playing Survivor with. Like it's super important because you can have a group of people who really respects who Swan is and what he does and how he leads, or you can have a group of people that clearly don't. And it's just unfortunate.
I got so used to saying Swan because him and Russell Hantz play in the same season. But yeah. So that's who we're saying. All right. So we go over to the Red Tribe. Jeff's like, I don't tell anyone I'm a baseball player. Sarah Dawson's like, oh, I know Jeff Kent. I know Jeff Kent. He's a baseball player. And she never takes advantage of this, but she definitely pokes fun at him.
She pokes fun at him. Like the one scene that I keep thinking about is when she feels like she's on the bottom. So she keeps making snide remarks about like how baseball players aren't real athletes.
That's when she goes home too.
I know. Yeah. And it was like, if you're going to actually be mad and take a swing, be mad and take a swing at somebody.
I don't know if she was mad. I think she was just
annoyed,
goofing with him, like messing with him. Like, oh, when I get home, I want to date a real athlete. And he's like, what's a real athlete? She's like, football players, soccer players, basketball players, but not baseball.
Yeah. I know. It was just weird. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It was weird.
Sarah Dawson's also the same person who was all about Jeff Probst wanting to kiss him. When he showed up, when Dana got pulled from the game, she's like, oh my gosh, Jeff showed up and I wanted to jump his bones, but it just wasn't the right time to do it. And then she actually does. When she gets voted off, she kisses him, I think on the cheek, because he like turns, gives him one of the turns because he's like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Then at the reunion, she kisses him on the mouth and he's like taken aback. He's like, thank goodness my wife kisses better. And there's also a secret scene, Mary, that you never saw, that I saw today as I was working on Jeff Kent's video, where her and Katie are just talking a lot of sexual stuff. They were clearly pent up, for lack of a better word. Carter's like, I can't be around. It's pretty bad when Carter actually expresses emotions like, I can't be around this. It's too much, like listening to them.
But does Jeff play sports? Because that's the real question I
Jeff
have.
Probst?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that matters to Dawson.
I know. It's just funny. Well, I would not recognize a famous baseball player, so good for her, I guess.
Also wouldn't affect my voting decision.
I don't think anyone else, it didn't even come up, right? Did it come up at the very
Literally no one else recognized him, so unless he was bringing up in a confessional to remind us that he's a famous baseball player, because I'm sure the show is prompting him to when they were doing their confessionals. Yeah, it never really came up, so. Sarah Dawson's the only one, and she did not reveal the secret. They definitely put her on the same tribe with him. That was on purpose. They thought she was going to reveal it. That's why she's there.
What is she going to say? I know all the baseball players.
No, I'm saying that when they cast, they probably ran past her like, hey, do you know sports? She's like, yeah, I know sports. And they probably ran a few names past her. Sure. And one of them just happened to be Jeff Kent because they knew that's the real answer they're looking for when they're casting. And they're like, oh, she knows who Jeff Kent is. We're going to put her on his tribe. Notice how she wasn't on yellow or blue. And
then that makes sense why she would have recognized him right away.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the only reason she got cast, but I'm saying that's the reason she was on his tribe. Mm-hmm. And it could have been a contributing factor, thinking this will be a fun storyline when she reveals he's a famous baseball player, and then it didn't happen.
Right.
And then she gets voted off and she's like, Jeff owes me like a pink gun and a pink motorcycle. And I forgot all the things she like said that he owes her now. I'm like, Jeff doesn't owe you any of these things. That's on you.
Yeah.
So anyways, first episode, we gotta be talking about this. Denise. This is our first sign that Denise is really smart, because Zane is a wild card. Mm-hmm. He's like making alliance with everybody, and it could have worked had he not told everyone he's making alliance with everybody. Yeah. And she noticed that, like, she noticed the tattoo. She wanted to like make a connection with him. And this is really a scene where I don't even know if she actually learned about his tattoos. Maybe she did, but it was a scene really focusing on how Denise is observant and smart and cares and listens because she's a sex therapist, but also, as we have learned on Survivor, not all therapists are good at Survivor. Some even quit the game. So not Denise though. Denise is a different therapist. She's a good therapist apparently. What do you think about Denise's introduction? Because really this is all she's got in the first episode.
Yeah, it was like her first confessional was talking about how she was interested in another person. So first of all, it comes across as being like super kind, super like humble,
good,
but
social.
also like relatable in that she's wants to know her tribe mates and wants to get to know them, and like the most rough or edgy guy on her tribe she's interested in, you know what I mean, like as far as like as a human. So
because she's married, we don't mean
it was a good look for her in her introduction. I was expecting more. I was expecting her to have more confessionals, but really just that, and then her moment with Malcolm where they like instantly connect.
They do instantly connect.
Was really all the content she got, and I'm fine with that. I really don't think that, you know, a winner needs to have every single second of airtime. Sure.
But we haven't watched a season in like 6 or 7 years, Mary. And I had also forgotten. I'm like, I thought Denise was more prominent than this, but, and maybe her confessional counter's higher than I remember, but it didn't seem like Denise was really that prominent for stretches of the season.
Right. No, I agree. But her first introduction to the game, I think, was good.
Yes. Yeah. They introduced her well. Matsing loses immunity. Get used to that. Zane comes back to camp and he's like, I want to be voted off. Yeah. Basically, it's not what he says exactly, but he basically gives up. Everyone recognizes that he's giving up. We then cut to confessional and he's like, this is a 4D chess move. I'm going to king me. He's like saying all this stuff about how amazing of a game he's playing. And Mary, you made a good observation when we were watching this episode. What was it that you said?
Well, basically what he was saying in his confessional sounded like something he came up with after he talked to Malcolm, I think it was, because he was so genuine in his talk on the beach. Like, I gave up. I couldn't do the challenge. I'm out of breath. You guys need to vote me off. I'm going to hold you back. And like, he's so genuine. And then, you know, we have that confessional. I'm like, where is this coming from? Why is he saying he's a 4D chess move? You know, like, what is he thinking? When he was definitely saying that I'm giving up. Yeah. And then we have a shot of him and Malcolm talking and Malcolm saying, hey, you know, don't give up. We really need you. You know, we could get Russell out tonight. If you just pretend like you're going home, that's fine, but don't give up. And so then it was like, okay, I could make a big game move here and we could get a big player out if I just pretend like I want to go home. But like, he really wanted to go home. He was done.
Yeah. And it seemed like talking with Malcolm might have turned around. Also maybe talking to the producers, because I agree with you. It seemed like now that when you said it, I was like, that makes sense. Like, he came back, was genuine, realized, oh, I do want to play this game. And then in confessionals made it sound like, so it makes her a really fun first boot, but like, yeah, I get why they voted him off first.
Yeah. It's memorable, but at the same time, yeah.
Some people say that he's either a first boot or a winner and there's no in between, Mary. I got that comment the other day. Zane.
I don't think he'd ever be a winner, but I could be wrong. You never know.
He's not someone who would get cast on modern Survivor.
Sure.
I don't think so. Has anyone seen a Zane on I'm not saying that Survivor around this time or has always been perfect by any stretch of the means when it comes to casting, but I am saying that as Survivor pushes for more diversity in their casting, it seems like it's the same personalities all the time, and Zane is not a personality I feel like we get despite the push for diversity. And somebody like Zane, I think, adds contrast to all these upper white class, but white collar. Yeah, white collar jobs and people. Okay.
If you want to learn anything from Zane, don't stop smoking or whatever it was the day before.
Yeah, didn't he like? I think he said that. He said like he didn't stop smoking, and he's like, I mean, that happened to Shane in season 12, but Shane, he went nuts. So there's been a few people to not quit smoking before, and they regretted it.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
do that before you go on Survivor.
Don't smoke. It's probably a good life.
A good life lesson there.
But people vape now, which is the same thing. Anyways. We go to episode 2. Swan says, I'm no longer going to be the leader. Followed by leading. Still being the leader. Yeah. We go over. So I didn't even mention that. Over on the Yellow Tribe, Abby, Maria, and RC get along right away. We then go to episode 2 where RC finds the clue to the idol because nobody knows it's actually on the rice container yet. Maybe Penner did. I forget. I don't think in episode 1 anybody found the clue yet. RC finds it in episode 1. She tells Abby, and then Abby, Maria. It's almost, I don't know if that was like the turning point, but she does become weirdly jealous of RC having relationships with other people in the tribe. Like I don't know, like they're supposed to be in a committed marriage. Don't be talking to other people.
This was weird. It did seem like just more of an opportunity to flip on RC versus actually having something against her. Yeah. I don't know. It was really kind of strange, but at the same time, like, I think it's just part of her personality where she got paranoid and then RC didn't handle it well. But also, to be fair, she's only known her like, what, 2-3 days?
3 days, yeah.
At this
4
point,
days maybe.
So it's hard to really calm someone down that you don't know that well.
It's true.
So they had this instant, it was like fire, like instant connection, sparks, flame, best friends for life. Followed by the burnout.
It burned so fast.
So it was, and then they were rivals the rest of the time. So whatever happened, I mean, it could have been more than what we saw on TV, obviously. But yeah, they're just two big personalities that kind of clashed fairly quickly.
So the idol clues were in the rice. It was actually in the rice, if I recall.
Right.
Penner found it. And I gotta say, Penner not playing a great game out the gate. Good thing they didn't go to tribal early, that red tribe, because Penner's like off doing his own thing. And you'll see the other 5 all hanging out.
Yes.
Playing checkers, hanging out in the cave. And they're like, what's Penner up to? I don't know. I don't trust him. Because Jeff Kent's really pushing no returnee should win the season.
Yes.
They've already had a chance. As if Jeff Kent doesn't have 60 million, he didn't make $60 million playing baseball. He's acting like he's just one of them. I just happen to own some motorcycle dealerships. Like, that doesn't bring you money.
Exactly.
I mean, he stuck to the truth. That's really what he was doing at the time. But it was kind of like, I don't know. That still sounds like you got money, dude. You have multiple dealerships, Jeff. All right. Anyways, so Penner does find the idol in this episode. We also see that Lisa, who is a child star / teen child star, I don't know if that's still child or not. She was on a sitcom called The Facts of Life. I never saw this. Did you?
No.
Before our time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have been on, I think around this time, we would have, we would have been with the younger people. Like, I've never seen that. Never seen this Facts of Life. I've heard of it only because of the show now. I went and looked it up. I think, is this the same one that had Kirk Cameron on it?
I have no idea.
Could you Google that for me? He was also on a sitcom. I don't know if it's the same one or not, but I want to say, I wonder if that was the same one. So anyways, the reign is endless so far. Matsing loses immunity again, as expected. And then it comes down to Roxy or Angie. Now, Roxy is, I don't know, she was okay, but then like, it's like when her target was put on her back, she got really, I don't mean, is that the word?
Took it personally, I think.
Take it personally.
Yeah.
All right, what'd you find out?
Growing Pains. That's what he was on.
He was on Growing Pains. She was on Facts of Life. Both 80s sitcoms.
Yes,
I got them mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Angie, on the other hand, a lot of references to her. It's kind of like Morgan and Kagayana, which I think we can reference that season because we already deep dived on it, where it's like a lot of references just to her breasts, straight up. Talking about how they're flotation devices, you know, like big round, like the people just talk
remember
like
this.
You don't, as a guy, I remember this.
Sure.
Morgan and Angie.
Oh yeah, I do. Okay.
Angie had the fake ones.
Yes,
though.
and
she's super young, which makes you think her dad or like her family bought these. It's not like Morgan was all natural. Just saying, when you see someone with fake ones and they're young, you're like, family comes from money. That's what I would think.
I remember this, and that's what. Well, we talked about maybe
She's
that's
like
one of the reasons.
Malcolm, and he's like booty blind. He was talking about that. I'm booty blinded by her. I don't want to be, but I am.
Well, I think Roxy pinned that. Or no, she kept saying booby trap.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of like references and jokes to Angie's upper half. And it's like, is this why she was cast? Is this, because like, what else did Angie really bring to the table, you know?
Right. Well, apparently it worked because I don't know if this caused Roxy just to be jealous and make it so personal, because she was definitely like out to get her. But I do see her perspective in that, why are you keeping the hot girl around just for that when I could be useful in challenges and stuff like that?
It was too late though. Malcolm was already booty blinded and him and Denise were connected. So like, no matter what, that was 3 votes. Yes. Denise would have needed to flip on Malcolm to basically to not have Angie go.
Well, and also,
to not have Roxy go.
At this point, Roxy's kind of showing her true colors as just being like vindictive. You really want to have that attitude, as long as it's not me, it's fine. Yeah. You know, kind of thing. So
it did make you not want to keep her around either. Just anyone who's just like threatening and all sort of stuff out that it's like, all right, well, that's not gonna make me want to keep you, man.
I don't know if Denise was really like 100% sold on it, but at Tribal, Roxy is really aggressive. And I know she probably knows that her name's, I mean, obviously she knows her name's out there, but it's just,
Angie's so dumb. She's talking about cookies, which by the way, let's be straight. When Jeff asked that and they give like the dumb music and cue and everything, it's like, yeah, but like if they were given a plate of cookies, I bet you they all would have been appreciative and said, wow, this is really helpful. So was Angie really that dumb when she said the cookie thing?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yes. I mean, come on. Sure.
Anyways, yeah, Roxy
sugar helps for a moment, right? But yeah,
I'm just saying. I mean, if I'm starving, I'll take a plate of cookies. I'm not saying it's the best thing for me, but it's better than nothing. I'm taking a plate of cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Roxy's voted off. We move on to episode 3, and Abby still with RC. Just like it's like she's misunderstanding what RC's saying, which we do dive into later in the season where like actually Jeff points out like they're like a cultural, like you're not getting what's like the social cues. I don't know how long Abby's been speaking English because she's from Brazil, as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long she's been speaking English, but it does seem like that how can you misunderstand? It didn't seem like these were not like complex. To me, it didn't seem complex, but I also have grown up in America my whole life.
Yeah, I don't think so though. I mean,
do you think Abby is just like naturally not observant?
I think once Abby makes up her mind about something, it's made up and nothing will change it, no matter what. So she feels like RC some way, somehow betrayed her, then she's done.
Yeah,
that's
she's
the end of it.
She's never going to change her mind. Yeah. She's like, that's it forever. There's nothing you do. Okay. Well, that's probably what happened. We then go over to the Red Tribe. They're like, what happened to the rice box? There used to be like a symbol on there. Even Penner, by the way, he's like backing up. He's like, yeah. Penner's like, yeah, where did it go? Where did it go? And Penner's actually playing it.
Well, that's what you should be doing.
Penner's playing it right because he's sitting there like, what is he going to do? Be silent? But it was already too late. The moment that thing is missing, people notice.
Mm-hmm.
People notice. So yeah, they're like, Penner's got an idol. Crap. Because they all wanted to get him out. So I said, Penner, good thing they didn't go tribal because he would have to burn the idol right away or he was gone.
Yeah.
Like he was in rough shape here in the beginning. We then go for the Blue Tribe as if things can't get worse for Matsing. Their raft, it's gone. It's out in the middle of the ocean. You even get a shot, like a helicopter shot of it out in the ocean that cuts over to the tribe. And you're like, where's our raft? This never comes up again though.
I'm assuming production just went and got it and brought it back and was like, you guys suck. I'm sure they didn't say that, but
yeah. Well, I feel like, I wonder if they had to give it back to him or I don't know. I don't know if they ever got it back. Like I'd have to go back and pour through the Matsing footage that they have for episodes 3 and 4 to see if it's back. But I know in season 5, this happened where a tribe lost it was the tribe with Brian Heidick. They lost their raft and that sucker was gone. Like they didn't get it back and they were forced to, because they needed it to go get water because the water well was they had to go across water to get to their water source.
That's
I know,
crazy.
Mary, it's a bad season, but that was like one of the interesting twists because they're like one camp, the water source is super close, but also there's no natural coverage for your shelter. You had to make your own shelter. And then the other camp, the water source was far away, like a mile away, but you had like this nice cave, so you'd have to build a shelter. So it was like kind of it was a decision. It didn't really, I don't know if it really panned out, but it did affect that tribe because then they just had to swim across the ocean to go get their water and put it in containers and swim back with it.
That's terrible.
Right. That's how early Survivor was. Compare that to modern. Anyways, compare that to modern Survivor. Point being is, the raft didn't really. I wrote down, will this matter? Because I'm like, I don't remember this mattering. It didn't.
It didn't. Yeah.
Did not come up again. Scoopin' supposed to have what I would assume a funny story about how he breaks everything.
Everything. All the time. Constantly. In this episode, he breaks a mask during the immunity challenge and his face is bleeding. It's like you can't get a shot of him without being like, oh, what's your new bruise or cut or scrape or whatever.
It's supposed to be an endearing storyline, but
he just comes out seeming really
considering
dumb.
how much of a mess he is in real life, it's hard not to think, is this how you just go through life? Reckless?
Seems like it.
By the way, fun fact. No, not fun fact. Fact. Interesting fact. There we go. I went and looked at when Detroit ripped him a new one for his possible Ponzi scheme in 2013 on Facebook. That's where this link was to. Look through the comments. People 11 years ago. So this is before anything got revealed. 11 years ago as of today is back in 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's when these comments were. So before he was revealed for everything, for actually having Ponzi scheme, people are like, this is a Ponzi scheme. This guy's a deadbeat dad. And I'm like, do people know him personally? There's a lot of negative comments when at the time all he had done was get busted for parking violations, moving violations, whatever, and potentially had a Ponzi scheme. Wasn't even actually revealed like true yet.
Right.
Let alone everything else. And it's like people are already ripping, scooping a new one online. So
crazy.
I thought that was interesting. I'm like, wow, he hadn't even been busted yet. People are already ripping him. So anyways, it's just really like, I think Scoopin's just kind of a reckless person in general. And it's supposed to be an endearing storyline. And it's, I don't know. It's really not.
It's really not.
Really not. Okay. So I'll throw that out there. Matsing loses again for the third time. And back at camp, back at the red camp, because at this point it is so tiring to be we're at the blue camp all the time for content, I want to say, but for scenes. We finally, because they're like, okay, we just can't spend the rest of the episode of blue. Let's go over to the other tribe, see what's up with them. We go over to the red tribe, and Jeff Kent, Penner talk, and Jeff Kent's like, because now he knows he has the idol. Penner's like, okay, I have the idol. Maybe we can work together. And Jeff Kent's like, all right, shakes his hand, Marion. How does that go?
Oh yeah, he like shakes his hand without all of his fingers. I didn't quite get it. Like he makes a little gun when he shakes his hand. So it's like, wasn't a real handshake, so it doesn't count. Yeah, whatever.
Like this made up rule, like a one finger was pointing at him like a gun, therefore it's not a real handshake. Dude, if I'm shaking somebody's hand, I'm never going to think to myself, why'd you point one finger? Like, why was the one finger not? Like, that would just be weird. Because what if it wasn't intentional, right? What if he asked that and he's like, oh, I don't know, that's just how I shake hands. Like, what is it? Jeff Kent wasn't be like, you know what, you caught me. That wasn't a real handshake.
Right.
It's kind of so dumb.
I don't understand the need for constantly kind of defending lying in the game. Like, it's Survivor. People are going to lie. I don't know, but
Jeff, I didn't watch him in baseball, but I do know that he was a villain, a bad boy of baseball. But it takes a lot less in baseball to be viewed as a villain than it does in Survivor.
Yeah.
Like, Survivor, it takes a lot less in baseball, yes, because in Survivor, it's expected to do villainous things to an extent, whereas in baseball, it's like, you're just playing baseball. Like, what are you doing? Stop being a jerk. So I think maybe he naturally feels the need to defend. But also, it does make for a little fun moment. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. Abby Maria gets the idol. Angie's voted off. I'm actually surprised Russell Swan didn't go at this point, but they're like, I mean, he's okay at challenges. He has the brawn. What does Angie really bring to the table?
Right.
Yeah. So bye-bye booby trap. Episode 4, it's raining as usual. I mean, I could have wrote that in every episode as my notes. It's raining as usual.
Pretty much every episode.
The idol clue is found in RC's bag. Abby Maria blames RC for this. It was Pete.
Right.
The one thing Pete does all season, because Pete to me is a non-factor. I'm actually surprised by the number of people who are vocally supporting Pete to get a story video. I'm like, what is really there for Pete? He's kind of like artists. Like, if he didn't have this one move, like, what did Pete do all season?
Right.
Story-wise. This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
He caused distrust amongst two people who already had distrust.
I mean, it's not like, I guess it's not a bad move if you're on the block and you're trying to get other people's names out
Pete
there.
Pete doesn't like RC. He wants it on.
Yeah. It wasn't really necessary. It caused drama that really didn't. I mean, they were already at odds.
Fun
in my
for
opinion.
us.
Yeah.
But like, what did it really do? Just solidified. I guess they're never gonna get back together.
Right.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever.
And RC is just like, I didn't do it. But like, RC can't even like, she didn't even like say somebody else clearly did this. I don't recall her saying that at least.
Not that we're shown. Oh, and so the other thing is like, so now everyone knows what the idol clue is and where it's at. And it's just not like great. If Pete really wanted the idol, which would be more smart than just creating drama, wouldn't you want to just...
That actually is a big thing because Abby Maria ends up finding it later with Pete in tow. And had Pete use that clue to find it, of course he couldn't find it. But had he actually found it, that would have been a better move because there would have been assumptions that RC would have assumed Abby found it. Abby would have assumed RC found it. Pete had it. That would have actually, and that would have worked out because later on, Pete probably would have played that out to save himself because I think it was like back-to-back tribals, something like that before he gets voted off where people were already voting Pete trying to get him off. So it wasn't like he was blindsided completely. He knew it was coming.
Right.
He knew it was coming before he went. Yeah. All right. So Malcolm says Russell lacks self-awareness, Russell Swan, and has only been held on to for his muscle. And this all seems accurate. It's unfortunate. He did seem to lack self-awareness on Galoo, but Galoo was such a strong tribe that like, it was fine.
Everybody was happy. Like it's like
generally, yeah.
Yeah. In general, when you're winning and you're on top, like things are easier to just ignore versus when you're losing and there's frustrations and you get blame. It shifts the dynamics for sure. Russell
Swan's looking for the idol. He's like, he's like, Survivor's probably gonna do that thing where like, as I'm looking for it, they're gonna show where it really is. And I'm walking right past it. That's exactly what they do. By the way, they do this on The Amazing Race as well. But I will say, I don't recall them doing this on The Amazing Race until after Survivor did it. And I don't mean Amazing Race does the thing where it's like, they're missing it. They do it all the time. Like you walk past it, there it is. They zoom in. But I'm saying that like somebody on The Amazing Race said, oh man, I'm probably missing it. And the show's gonna do that thing where it zooms in on it while I'm missing it.
Yeah.
Swan is the first person I can think of in the CBS shows that I've watched where this happens. So like Big Brother, it's hard to miss anything when the house is so small and the show's so boring. I mean, the show is so exciting. It's not boring at all. All right. Just random Big Brother strays coming out of my mouth. Okay. Finally, Russell looks for the idol, doesn't find it. Abby fights with RC over the paper, over the idol clue. Matsing loses again. Russell calls Jeff Lord because he gets mad when they lose. This time he gets mad. He like smashes a pot. He's like, and Jeff's like, what's going on? It's like you're talking like you're owed a win or something like that. And he calls Jeff Lord and he corrects himself. He's like, Jeff. And Mary,
because he was mid prayer. I think he was mid like angry praying.
Yeah.
And Jeff's talking to him. Yeah, I understood it in the moment, but it was a little weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird. So people reference that when everything Russell Swan. He is voted off here. I do like Russell Swan as a character. He's not a good Survivor player.
Right.
I do like him as a character, and I just want to throw that out there. Like, he's one of the people I'm like, I get his flaws, but I also like him. Mm-hmm. Like, if I was on Survivor, I think I would be friends with Russell Swan.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that from my perspective. Episode 5, we start off, and Mary, I need you to explain this because you and I both watched this. Now, not the first time we watched the season, but this time we watched the season, we're like, why does Matt Singh all of a sudden look for the idol with such certainty as to where it should be?
Right. So it's just Malcolm and Denise, and they are told, hey, you're about to move. It seems as if
something is happening where you're going to be leaving here soon. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
That's what it seems like.
Communicated.
Because all of a sudden they're like walking around and they're talking about, well, the idol has to be here somewhere. And then they keep saying stuff like close to camp. How did they know?
It has to be something that was already here when we got here. Something like that.
Yes.
It's like, where did you hear any of these things?
And they're not carrying a piece of paper around at all.
No.
It's clear they don't have a clue.
The show couldn't even give them like a clue so they could like pretend that they had a clue. Nothing.
Right.
They're just walking around with clues out loud. They're like, where are you getting this from?
Right. It's like they're playing hot and cold with production or something.
Correct. It's exactly what it felt like. Production's like, we're not leaving this camp without this idol being found. Mm-hmm. That's how it felt. Yes. And they're like, we're going to give them clues. Watch the scene again if you don't know what we're talking about. It's the beginning of episode 5, the first Matsing. It's the only Matsing scene because after this they get dissolved into 2 other tribes. Right.
So then Malcolm does find it. He's like, does the whole victory war whoop stuff. Yep. Yeah. Which is great. And then they redraw, was it rocks or buffs? Whatever it was.
They pull buffs.
They pull buffs, yeah. I think. And basically all that happens is Denise joins one tribe. And
she joins red and Malcolm joins yellow.
The other one, yeah.
At this point, red has won. They've been first place for 1 immunity and yellow's been first place for 3 out of the 4. I went back because I was watching again today, double check. So yellow is already the more dominant tribe. So adding Malcolm is like the nail in the coffin for why red can't win. It seems like the remaining immunity challenges.
Because they mainly have a reward, and thanks to Malcolm.
I wonder if things play out different if Malcolm goes to red and Denise goes to yellow. Like, does red win the remaining immunity challenges, and therefore like Sarah Dawson makes the merge, Katie makes the merge, and like other people in yellow don't make the merge? Does RC go up pre-merge? You know what I mean? Like that would have affected things towards the end game.
I think no matter what, Denise wouldn't have been voted out. So
I think Denise and Malcolm both safe no matter what.
True, was going to be fine probably either way.
Yeah, I think they're both good either way. But I'm just saying for everyone else, I wonder if this changes the course of the season. Is Scoopin and Lisa sitting in the final 3 if this swap goes differently? That's how big I think the swap, even though it doesn't seem like it, goes 180. I think the season changes. We see some red people at the end.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. All right, so Tandang wins immunity thanks to Malcolm. I do like this challenge. We see it again in Cagayan. I'm like, this is another one. I'm like, why don't they put it in Modern Survivor? You know what I think it is? It's the one where they knock the idols off each other's like perch or whatever you call it. They're like walking around with it, trying to knock it off before they knock off theirs. I think it's because it goes so fast. Like they get through so many rounds, and over the show's edited time is like 3 minutes. Challenges like usually last 8-9 minutes. This is like 3.
Right.
3 minutes. It's not enough time. I think maybe it's why they don't do this one anymore.
I was just going to say, wouldn't that make Jeff happy? He's constantly trying to keep challenges shorter than they are.
It's true, dude. Ever since that challenge in Palau that went almost 12 hours, it's been like a challenge. It seems like production is like bent on making sure challenges don't last too long. God forbid. We got to keep adding obstacles to make challenges go shorter. This, to me, felt like it was almost too short.
Right.
I think there's a version of this where you have two, like both hands have idols. I don't know what the play there is though. And
Jump
if you
and
lose,
kick like
and only if you
Karate
lose
Kid?
both of them, you lose. I don't know how that works. I'm saying that could be a new way of doing this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a thought. I don't really know. Because it does become the meta does become eventually to throw up your idol and knock the other person's down in Kaigayon.
Yes.
But here, I don't think that really wasn't developed yet. So maybe they didn't bring it back. So like, okay, people have kind of already figured it out. But I don't know. I like this one. I'm saying it could definitely be brought back again with a variation on it, with a change. A 3-way battle would be interesting.
That
like
would
imagine
be interesting.
with 3 tribes. Like I know they do it here and in Kaigayon with 2 tribes, but
last person standing.
right. And then in the newer Survivor where there's like 3 tribes every season. Why can't they do this with 3 tribes?
Right.
At once? That would be a new variation of it. I think would work. And it's super simple to set up.
Right.
Literally a little arena where they got to make sure there's no sticks or anything in there to mess with you.
Yeah, and it's usually always muddy, or it looks like they make it muddy.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, that or they could do it on sand. I mean, this is not that complicated. So I like the challenge. Tandang wins thanks to Malcolm. Pete tells Malcolm about how he's idle and how annoying Scoopin is. That is the general consensus. Scoopin is annoying. It's actually surprising how far he makes it, considering how annoying people find him. Whereas Penner is not annoying. It's just that people like Penner's played twice, and I don't want Penner here. Whereas Scoopin is like Scoopin's annoying.
I think Penner did offend people at times, just personally,
which he did in his last 2 seasons as well.
But it wasn't maybe as egregious.
No, Penner's the best of the 3.
Yes,
by far. Swan also is annoying people. It's almost like they brought back 3 people who annoyed people. Scoopin was annoying people's first season too.
On purpose, yeah.
All right, the women are happy. The women of Red are happy they scooped up Denise, and they're like, okay, because at this point there is a women and men divide on Red. They're like, sweet, with Denise, it's 4-3. Jeff Cat ends up recruiting Denise, and then Dana gets medically evacuated. That like puts the nail in the coffin.
Dana quits. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I know she technically quits. It did seem. I think had she stuck it out, they would have just pulled her 12 hours later.
Probably.
I'm not saying it is a quit. It is officially quit. I'm saying it almost seemed like a medical evacuation. It wasn't. But how much longer was Dana lasting in the rain? Like she's like 90 pounds soaking wet.
No, I'm not
Literally
blaming her at
wet.
all. I was just making sure we were all on the same page.
We're all on the same page. She quit. Yeah, she didn't get medically evacuated, but yeah,
it was close.
That Dana quit and then really did in Katie and Sarah's game at that point. By the way, we didn't talk about Carter.
Why would we talk about
One time
Carter?
I saw Carter in a grocery store, Mary.
Did you really?
I'll pull up this and tell it to you. I'll tell it to you later on the podcast. I'll pull up there's a story about Carter and someone seeing him in a grocery store. I'll tell it to you.
Okay.
We'll do that once we get the post.
Sitting on the edge of my
I'm just saying Carter, I don't know. I kind of wish Katie and Sarah stayed over Carter. Carter's just kind of like nobody on the Red Tribe. He's just there. He like has like this goofy look on his face. And even when he has food in his belly at the reunion, I'm like, what do they see in Carter? Does he have blackmail on them to get cast?
I have no idea.
Right. You think you want to cast people who are all outgoing? Like
he knows somebody.
How did Carter get on the show? Is he like the nephew of somebody? Yeah. I don't know. It will not stop raining. I wrote like it is every episode. It just, the rain does not stop. Dana quits. This is when Sarah Dawson's like, I can't wait to jump Jeff's bones. Now it's just not the right time to do it. Jeff is married, Sarah. Jeff is married. But as I said in the secret scene, her and Katie were pent up, to say the least. Tandang wins immunity by seconds over the Red Tribe. And we get Dawson voted off, and she kisses Jeff's cheek.
Iconic.
Had it ended there, I think people would be like, Dawson, a little weird. But memorable for that.
Right.
If it wasn't for the reunion, her literally kissing Jeff in the mouth, because reverse that. Let's say it's a guy who kissed a woman host on the mouth. Would have been treated totally different.
Oh, yeah.
Been treated with a lot more seriousness, I guess is what I'm saying. It's playful here. But if there's a woman host and it was like, let's say Penner's like, I can't wait to kiss Julie Chen. Let's say Big Brother host is in charge. I want to kiss her right in the mouth. Like, it would have been so much different.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how that works, huh?
Very interesting.
Episode 6, Pete says Scoopin is worthless and makes horrible decisions. Pete is dead on in more ways than Pete knows when he says this.
True.
He's dead on. Scoopin is worthless, is an opinion, makes horrible decisions, seems factual.
Factual.
We go to the reward challenge. This is the one where they have like the big ball and all you have to do is score it in the net. It's like soccer, but with a big wicker ball.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to go to 3, Mary. How does it actually go?
I mean, after an hour of the first round,
Right.
they're like stalemate, just holding on to each other and holding on to the ball. Nobody moves. They're like sitting there straining their muscles for what seems like an hour.
At one point, Penner's just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Because he's pinned.
And finally, everyone's like, this is ridiculous. Can we just
make a deal?
Yeah. And I still don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how you couldn't at some point just like get some purchase, but I was not there. I'm not an athlete.
Well, they only put 3 from each tribe in there, probably thinking it would allow for more movement. But I almost wonder if they should put all 5 from each tribe, or now I know Yellow had more than 5, but I'm saying that there was 2 reds waiting to do another round, and it's like I wonder how this would have gone had there been 5 red versus 5 yellow at a time. I don't know if that made a difference or not.
Right. So this was just reward, and I get not really wanting to expend a lot of time and energy on a reward challenge. So I think if it wasn't reward, this wouldn't have happened. But basically, Calabaw takes sandwiches, and which was the reward, and Tandang gets rice.
Yeah, Tandang gets Red's rice. And both sides, they're both like upset about this. Yellow's like, I can't believe Scoopin gave away sandwiches for rice. What are we going to do with that? And then we go over to Red, and they're like, I can't believe Penner gave up the rice. Yeah. What are we going to do with sandwiches?
Yeah.
And the reality is this doesn't matter because the merge is next episode.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I wonder if this decision was made. If it was episode 2, I would not have done give away all my rice.
Right. No, I never. And I think that was, maybe that's why everyone's like so mad about it, because they think, oh, this is all the rice that we have for the rest of the game.
Right.
But you don't. You get the feast, and
once
then I think
the merge,
they got more rice.
Everyone's sharing rice again.
They're sharing the rice again.
I think Penner made the better deal.
Yes. I made the comment, well, if I won the rice in the reward challenge, I wouldn't have shared it. That's what like Boston and Rob probably would have done. But clearly it wasn't an issue. They share the rice again when
Boston Rob would have tried to negotiate that he gets the rice and the sandwiches, and you get his goodwill come merge.
Yes.
That's what Boston. I'm being real. That's what Boston Rob really would have negotiated.
Yeah.
Come the merge, I promise not to eliminate you. That's what his promise would have been, and then he would have got the rice and the sandwiches. I think the way to do this challenge, if they ever did it again, which I don't think they will, but if they did, the ball needs to be smaller. I feel like the ball being so big is a big reason why they're struggling to get movement on it. And they've done something like this in season 11 Guatemala. They had a big boulder. I know it wasn't a real rock. I'm sure it was, not styrofoam, but whatever. If it was a real rock, it moved way too easily. Let's put it that way. Right. They did something like this where they had an arena, and there was like trees in the arena, which seemed unsafe, but I'm sure they did with what they could. And they pushed to both sides, and it worked out. That's the challenge where Bobby John and Jamie got in each other's face, Mary, and they're like chest, and they're like screaming like, oh, you want to go? Like all those things. That was that challenge in Guatemala.
Didn't a bunch of people get hurt in that too?
Correct.
I think. Yeah.
Correct. So they tried to do it again without people getting hurt by making it a wicker ball. I think this is wicker. I think it just needs to be smaller. I think it's just too big. It was just too big. It was smaller and easier to move.
Yeah, visually it's fun to see, I guess.
Visually cool.
But yeah, it didn't work out.
This is one where I think they do it again, but you have to do it earlier on in the season. Maybe like episode 1 when everybody has energy for your initial, let's get everyone, who wins Flint? Right. That challenge. That's the challenge. Instead of doing a stupid puzzle for the 15th time in a row, we do this for Flint. And it's like, okay, when everybody still has energy, they're coming in the season hot. They just had breakfast before the season started. That's the time to do something like this.
That
with
makes
a
sense.
Smaller ball, not in episode 6 when everybody's worn out and the ball's just way too big. Clearly, people are just wiped. So, yeah, I talked a lot about this challenge. Long story short, it doesn't really matter who gets the rice and who gets the sandwiches, though the sandwich people do get letters from home, which is nice. Kind of early for that, but it's nice. Artis is so mad about this trade, though. And I wrote, who is Artis?
Right.
Literally.
He didn't have like any confessionals up to this point, I don't think. Maybe
I'm
he
sure
had
there
one
was.
I'm sure he had 1 or 2.
But who is Artis?
But yeah, it wasn't perceived as a character in the show. So when he comes up and is mad about this, you're like, but why? We don't know you. It's like a stranger coming up saying, I'm mad that you took my sandwiches. I'm sorry you're mad. And then that's it. So
to us, it's like, yeah, but who is this guy?
Yeah.
Also, I think this was his birthday episode.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Where they're like, it's Artis' birthday. Like, what do you think, Artis? He's like, you don't want to know what I think. And I'm like, who? Artis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who is this guy?
The thing is, everyone had to agree to it. And I'm sure he felt peer pressure because everyone else was agreeing to it or whatever. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. We then go to the immunity challenge. Abby sits out again, which I didn't realize she sat out last time, but Jeff made a big deal out of it. So I noticed. I would not have noticed had Jeff not made a deal out of it. Like he was like, you're sitting out for a second time? And it's like, that's it? We're getting upset over that? I don't think this was their third time, was it?
I don't know.
I think it was just their second time. Tandang wins immunity thanks to Malcolm. This is the immunity challenge, by the way, where Jeff Kent actually scores 3 points for his tribe, and then Malcolm pulls a come from behind victory for Tandang and wins. I think Malcolm only scores 3 points as well. They needed 5. Jeff Kent scores 3 out of the 4 for red, but Malcolm scores 3 out of the 5 for yellow, and all you remember is Malcolm.
Yeah.
But Jeff Kent did an equal amount of work, and Malcolm beats Jeff Kent on the last point, and that's why you remember Malcolm. Interesting how the storytelling works like that. Yeah. Bet you everyone listening was like, I didn't remember Jeff Kent got the same number of points that Malcolm did this challenge. Yep, he sure did. Crazy. I know I was watching it again today. I'd forgotten, by the way, until I went and watched it again today.
I
took me 3 times watching the season and noticed that.
Yeah.
Because I was taking notes about Jeff Kent. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed that. All right. Tandang wins immunity thanks to Malcolm. Carter asks Penner. He's like, well, we're debating between Katie or Penner. What do you think? Penner's like, well, I'd sure hate to lose Katie.
So funny. Because
he takes it so cool.
Yeah, because Jeff was just talking to Carter about getting Penner out, and it was just
Penner sits down next to them.
Carter clearly a slip of the tongue, but still
this
pretty
is where
funny.
he's at all season. He's checked out, dude.
Yeah, checked out.
Yeah, Kent's we go to tribal. Kent says Survivor sucks. Jeff's like, what? Jeff probes like, what do you mean? What do you mean Survivor sucks? He's like, no, it's just like, you make friends with people, you got to backstab. And Jeff like, all right, you better be what? That better be why it sucks.
Yeah.
Professional baseball player who's made more money than me.
Right.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not at this point, but 60 million is quite a bit. By the way, for reference, modern day Jeff makes $8 million per year.
Wow.
So I think at this point he's made more Jeff Kent.
Sure.
I would assume. But
after taxes.
Till Obama comes along. Okay. Katie does get voted off. So we go to the merge, Mary, and Lisa, being the natural mother that she is, goes to hang up some clothes and Malcolm, she finds it.
Yeah.
She finds the idol.
Poor Malcolm and poor Lisa. I mean, this was not the best idea, but how was Malcolm supposed to know? And how was Lisa supposed to know? I don't know.
Don't touch other people's stuff.
Yes. That's generally my rule of thumb, or at least ask or be like, hey guys, I'm about to do laundry. Does anyone want me to do theirs? Whatever, that would have been a better way of handling it. I think Lisa doesn't always know how to handle being around other people, as we've seen. So yeah, it was unfortunate for both of them. I think didn't really help Lisa's game at all.
We haven't talked much about Lisa because Yellow Tribe has not gone tribal, but Lisa up to this point is basically like struggling playing the game, but also maybe relating to the younger people because Scoopin knows where she's from. Penner recognizes her as well, knows where she's from, but nobody else does because they're of an older generation than even us. So yeah, Lisa is just kind of just being herself and not, how'd she get on the show is my question. Do you think she got recruited or do you think she applied?
I think she applied because she was a fan. Or it seemed like she was a fan.
Yeah.
She talked about how she always watched it and wanted to be on it. So I'm sure just a combination of her actually wanting to be on the show and having some history of being on television in the past,
Right. There was some talk she said about how basically the money she made when she was a teen, it got poorly invested and she doesn't have any of it.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That blows.
Yeah.
This is about 4 years after the housing crash of 2008. So I don't know if it's at all related to that or if it got,
it sounded like it went
kicked away a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
That blows, man. So anyways, will Lisa keep this a secret is the question. Malcolm's like, well, thank goodness it was her out of everyone else. But as it turns out, as we learn later, she tells. He still snitches. I would too. I mean, why would I keep that to myself when I have Alliance members?
Right. Yeah, it didn't really help her to keep it a secret. I mean, I think she did it at a time that was good for her. Right.
She didn't just do it right away.
Right. She didn't just randomly tell everyone and prove that she's a big mouth. She used it strategically.
Well. We then get more talks from Jeff Kent of not wanting a returnee to win. He's really pushing this. Jeff is lucky. He is lucky no one recognizes who he is and says anything because clearly Dawson did.
Right.
Because this would just bite him in the butt. What do you mean you don't want a returnee to win? None of them have made $60 million. He's so hung up on this though. We even have a secret scene, Mary, I was going through for Jeff Kent's video. There's a secret scene of him, like there's more, like there's even more of him pushing to get out these returnees, Scoop and Penner.
I think part of it's just he knows he would be a threat, and you always want somebody else to be a threat. It's part of it.
But at the same time, okay, let's say theoretically his plan works. Those two go, and then who's next?
Right.
Like he's pretty big. Like people recognize right away that he's well spoken. Like he's pretty chill, but also he likes to tell people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was basically in charge of that red tribe. I know Penner is the returnee, but really Kent was the leader of them.
Yes.
And he led the charge. And the Yellow recognized this. They came into the merge without numbers. They came to merge down. The Yellow tribe came with 7 and they came with 4, if I'm recalling correctly. The Yellow tribe hadn't lost anybody and they gained Denise. So they were 7. Red came in with 4. And really one of those 4 was, Yellow came in with Malcolm, 6 plus Malcolm. Red came in with 3 plus Denise.
Right.
That's how it worked. Yeah.
Right.
And Denise and Malcolm aren't super loyal to either side.
Mm-hmm.
As well as they shouldn't be.
Right.
I do want to bring up this, Mary. The intentional matsing strategy has been talked about since this season because it works so well for Denise and Malcolm. Unintentional, of course. The intentional matsing strategy, I believe as first proposed by Peridium, is to tank your tribe so that when you go into the merge, people do not perceive you and people from your tribe as a threat because there's only 2 or 3 of you.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this? Is that a strategy? I mean, first off, is it a strategy that you should actually try and do?
I would never want that strategy because the more times you go to tribal, the more chance you're the one going home. So I get it how statistically people coming in from smaller tribes are safer after the merge for longer. So obviously the numbers are there and that's valid, but it's only good if you're the 1 or 2 person coming in that low tribe. So just in general, coming in on Survivor saying, hey, let's lose challenges so we can vote most of us home. Like I still don't, I would never play like that, but.
It works this season for Denise and Malcolm. Unintentional though. They were not trying to go into the merge, only 2 of them, but we will see, again, I'm not going to spoil future seasons, but it's not, people do bring up an intentional, let's lose members to go into the, and we do see over the course of Survivor as well, people talk about, man, we really need a tribal before the merge. Otherwise, we have like 6 people who are just wanting to get at each other. And it works out though for Yellow. Like, even though they go in the merge with 6 and sure, like they lose RC right away here in this episode 7, RC goes out. 2 of them still make the final 3. So it didn't really hurt them that they didn't go tribal before the merge. Mm-hmm. But we will see in our seasons where there will be a time where basically tribe will come with 2 people, Mary. I know I don't want to say what the season is because again, I want these to be able to be listed in order, but there will be seasons where people come to tribe, only 2 of them, they'll still get targeted. And then that will bite the people who target them in the butt because it's like, oh, well, you just remove people who could have helped you overthrow the majority alliance.
Right. So. Yeah. Going into the merge, I've always said going into the merge, I think that like, I don't want to give specific examples either, but yes, like if we're going into the merge and there is just a 2-person tribe, I've always said, well, they're in a good spot. You know, at least they're in a good spot usually because people are going to want their numbers and people aren't going to be threatened by them.
But getting your tribe down 2 people and surviving is rough.
That's just really not the smartest. Yeah.
So yeah, RC is targeted here and voted off. And it felt a lot like, apparently it's Abby, Artis, and Pete. Now, Artis and Pete, to me, have like almost no story. Mm-hmm. We know why Abby doesn't like RC, but like, why do Pete and Artis not like RC? She works with Scoop and apparently and is kind of annoying. But like, how is she on the table before Lisa?
Right. Because Lisa's so calm and chill. And yeah, I don't think anyone viewed her as a threat, especially right at the merge.
But there might be a flaw with what Penner says, because he does say in the next episode because basically Jeff Kent and Carter vote against RC, but Pete and Artis were going to vote RC. They were never going to vote Pete. Obviously, Pete can't vote for himself. So I'm actually not 100% sure of the logic here. Like, it doesn't help Jeff Kent that he votes against Penner by not voting with him for Pete. But at the same time, like, I think Penner has to play his idol no matter what is really where I'm getting at.
Yes. Because
if Jeff Kent and Carter vote with Penner, it's still 4 votes for Pete, 2 votes for RC, and 5 votes for Penner, no matter what Penner has to play his idol. Mm-hmm. Denise, Malcolm, Abby, Maria, Scoopin, and Lisa all vote against
Penner.
Right. So he had to play his out no matter what. So it's kind of weird that actually in the next episode he blames Jeff. Because really, yeah, sure, Jeff shouldn't have voted against him. Like they should have voted together in unison. Jeff's so bent on getting out Penner at this point. But at the same time, I don't know. Like Penner had to play his out no matter what. It's what I'm seeing. It was a pretty good IO play. It wasn't like super dramatic, but he sure needed it.
He did. It's always nice when you use it and it's actually effective. Okay,
so we go to the next episode, and Penner's not buying Jeff's excuse, but again, Penner isn't thinking this fully through because it was gonna be 5-4-2 almost no matter how you looked at this. Kent and Carter flipping does not make Pete go. Artist was not voting on Pete.
I think he just viewed him as the spearhead of the movement against him.
Right.
But
yeah, and it's their first
clash.
I don't know. This is their I think Penner finally gets that Kent's not really on his side. Scoopin wants Penner to stay, otherwise he's next. There's then a reward on a boat on the river where Penner's being super obvious because his team wins. Super obvious. He's like, anybody but me. He's like trying to push like, yeah, I can help you guys. And like everyone's like, this is kind of obvious the way Penner's playing. But that's kind of been Penner's MO all 3 seasons he's played. He's kind of obvious.
Yeah. And there's something I think sometimes you want your tribe member to be that open and honest. Like it's nice to know what the other people are thinking. You know, if you don't know what they're thinking, they could be the wild card or liability. So I think that's something that can actually help you at times.
So I don't really have that much else to talk about that. Let's move on to the immunity challenge, Mary.
Okay.
The immunity challenge, I actually appreciate they do this more in Survivor, I'm aware. But I think that so often you and I talk about challenges, especially in modern Survivor, where challenges feel like, what was the point of doing all the physical stuff? It just comes down to the puzzle at the end. I think this season, believe it or not, handles that appropriately. The physical part matters because only a certain number of people do the puzzle at the end.
Right.
Now, I don't recall if before this season they do this. I'm sure they have, but they do it more often this season. And I think this is the way to do it. You make the physical part matter because if you're not top 3, then you're not doing the puzzle. So sure, it comes down to the puzzle, but also it matters that you can do physical.
Right.
And I think too often in modern Survivor, later seasons after this, it all just comes down to the puzzle. It's like, all right, well, why did we even watch the physical part? It didn't matter. It's like zone out for that part. But here you actually have to care because those are the people who move on the puzzle.
Yeah. I think maybe some people might be put off by the stages of the challenge because maybe it breaks the flow up. But like you're saying, I liked it because it's different. We don't see it often, and each stage matters like extremely.
I want to argue that they didn't have to break it up because they do pause after every stage. They don't have to. It could just been the first 3 who make it through, just immediately move on to the puzzle.
Sure.
And if you don't make it, you don't make it. Like they don't even have to stop and start. But maybe they do probably for the cameras, I'm guessing.
I'm sure they do.
Because cameras like not set on the puzzle, and then they're like, all right, let's move over to the puzzle for the That's the only reason I can think of. Because otherwise, why can't it just be the top 3, just immediately do the puzzle right away? I don't know. I do like this though. I think this is something that probably gets overlooked, but I think I wish they would do this again because it makes the physical part actually matter. And Penner wins it. He beats Kent. He beats Jeff Kent. That is how close it came down to Penner going, I think, in this episode versus Jeff Kent. Because Jeff Kent's going to go.
Yeah.
And I think he obviously wouldn't go if he won, but I think Penner does go if he doesn't win here.
Yes.
Because the movement was against Penner still after the idol play. So Penner, much needed idol play, much needed immunity win. His butt's on the line here. We go back to camp. And Lisa is now telling everyone about Malcolm's idol. So like 1 episode.
Yeah, she's trying to save her alliance. So she thinks that everyone's voting for Malcolm or is voting whatever I don't remember exactly.
To be clear, it has been 2 weeks since we watched this season. A while. We tried to record this earlier, but I
just remember couldn't
find time.
Her whole reasoning was she wanted to make sure her 5 were safe and strong.
Oh.
And so like putting targets on other people was like her main goal. Yeah.
Anyway, she didn't go very long keeping her word to Malcolm, who, by the way, did promise her a final 3 deal with him and Denise, but it's like, okay.
Sure.
Like, yeah. I mean, I guess on the one hand, like, sure, Malcolm has nobody else in a final 3 because like there's nobody from Matt Singh. So like, I guess there's an open 3rd spot and Lisa hasn't been really playing the game. So maybe he's being legit. But at the same time.
Yeah.
I would be like, sure, I'm in your final 3, buddy.
Little suspicious.
Jeff Kent tells Carter, hey, we're getting out Pete. And Carter goes, I thought we were getting out you.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like when he talked to Penner, he's like, hey, is it Katie or Penner?
Mm-hmm.
Carter, man, like, come on, you even had a merge feast. Like, I sure that was a couple days ago at this point, but like Carter's just like, he said, he just does not exist this season.
A little bit out there.
Basically. Okay, so Mary, what happens next?
So at Tribal, Malcolm says he's going to play his idol since everybody knows about it. And then
he reveals to everyone he has the idol, which everyone kind of knew.
Everyone was, well, yeah, because Lisa had been saying it, but he confirmed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abby says she has one too.
Bro.
Just so no one else feels left out, I guess.
This seems like such a dumb move on its face, but she ends up like utilizing it to her advantage to not be targeted. Not that I think she's being targeted though.
No, this was just to be flashy. Why? There's no need to put your name out there at Tribal in any way, shape, or form. I
want to be clear. I appreciate the chaos Abby Maria brings. I know you're not a big fan, but I am a big fan of people just bringing general chaos. And Abby Maria brings the chaos this season. I
mean, you're right. It makes things not boring for sure. But correct. Is it good gameplay? No.
No, I didn't say it was good.
Yeah.
But I am saying that I appreciate Abby Maria just playing to the beat of her own drum.
Now, neither of them played their idols that night.
No. Well, right. Malcolm seemed like such an obvious ploy. He's like, I'm playing this tonight no matter what. Right. It's like, okay, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I really supposed to believe that right now? Yeah. So Jeff Kent gets voted off, and this is when he gives the infamous, I made $60 million playing baseball, and I wanted this freaking $1 million so bad. And it's not even $1 million. It's $600,000 by the time Obama takes it.
And that's the end of that line.
Nope. I'm going to mention that every day of our lives, Mary.
Oh,
every time we watch an episode, I would say that phrase. Mary's like, okay, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mary, who did Penner vote for that threw everything off?
He voted for Abby Marie for some reason.
Abby Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Penner did say after the last episode that I'm a free agent. I'm doing my own thing now. I think in this case, to the detriment of his game.
Yes. Because it could have been Pete going home.
Tie vote could have caused Pete to go home instead of Jeff Kent. Like, sure, Jeff Kent wasn't on Penner's side. Mm-hmm. So I guess either way.
It didn't seem to truly matter. But yeah, and just being the odd man out on a vote never really looks that good, I don't think. Mm-hmm. You know, you have people relying on you for your vote, and then you just randomly throw a vote out there to somebody else. And so I don't think it looks good, and I didn't think it was a great move for him. This was one of his mistakes, in my opinion. Because who is he? He's not going to align himself with anyone by doing this.
All right, you ready for the Carter Williams story?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw Carter Williams at a grocery store in Los Angeles yesterday. I told him how cool it was to meet him in person, but I didn't want to be a douche and bother him and ask him for photos or anything. He said, "Oh, like you're doing now?" I was taken aback, and all I could say was, "Huh?" And he kept cutting me off and going, "Huh," and closing his hand shut in front of my face. I walked away and continued with my shopping, and I heard him chuckle as I walked off. When it came to pay for my stuff up front, I saw him trying to walk out the door with like 15 Milky Ways in his hand without paying. The girl at the counter was very nice about it and professional and was like, "Sir, you need to pay for those first." At first, he kept pretending to be tired and not hear her, but eventually turned back around and brought them to the counter. When she took one of the bars and started scanning it multiple times, he stopped her and told her to scan them each individually to prevent any electrical interference, and then turned around and winked at me. I don't even think that's a word. After she scanned each bar and put them in a bag and started to say the price, he kept interrupting her by yawning really loudly. Thoughts, Mary, on that story?
This is a true story?
No.
Okay.
But for some reason, it's become every time somebody talks about Carter Williams online, this gets copy and pasted.
Okay.
Mary's not big into joking, in case you haven't been able to tell. So what do you think about this story, Mary? Was it even remotely funny? Did I not lead into it correctly?
You led into it correctly. Good job. I'm sure someone is laughing somewhere. I
hope somebody laughs at you not getting the stupid story.
I don't get stupid stories. What's the point?
What's the point? All right, Mary. Let's move on. I'm very distraught now. Okay, Penner connects with Lisa over her past as a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe this season how much Penner connects with Lisa, and she still doesn't really work with him. She offers him one time to work with him. That was it. Like she is so stubborn. Mm-hmm. She is so stubborn. She gets locked into this deal with Scoopin', and that's it. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I mean, Penner worked so hard, and I think he was really genuine in almost everything he said.
Was.
Yeah, he was genuine. And
Penner is also an actor.
Yeah.
A former actor at this point.
Yeah. But he was really making connections with her. He really truly cared about her as a person and not just her as a vote for him. And really at this point, what did he have to lose? He was kind of on the outs. So
I don't think he was playing her. I think he was just being legit.
Yeah,
Every conversation seemed legit.
He was really just trying to connect because she was clearly struggling. She was struggling with staying with Alliance, who was constantly making fun of her, talking down to her, or going with people who cared about her, but she had not made any promises to. And so just as a person, she was struggling with expectations and what that meant for her. And he was truly trying to help her and be kind and talk her through it and show her that he cared. And for seemingly nothing, like I kept thinking, oh, Lisa's finally going to flip. She's finally going to flip. She's finally going to do it. And she never did. And I mean, I hope she's happy with the decisions she made. And hopefully, you know, like it didn't really work out for her in the long run.
Whether she won or not, to be frank with you.
No, and that's fine. Like if you're going into this game, not really caring if you win or not, you just want to have the experience. Good for you. And have a great, I just hope it's a great experience then. And she didn't have any regrets.
It's so frustrating to watch Penner interact with Lisa and her just like still basically give him nothing at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he put in so much work. It's like, how do you not work with this guy? They offer him one time a brief window and then they close it immediately later on. And that is also Penner's fault. I'm very aware it's Penner's fault because if somebody offers you a final 3 deal or whatever, you say
yes.
Right. You just say yes. But Penner, being honest, was like, let me think about it. I haven't even thought to that point yet. You know, true. We hadn't seen Penner make a final 3 deal with anyone else. I don't know why he wasn't thinking about like the final 7 or 8 when he said no to them, or he said, I got to think about it. But it's like,
he should have. Another one of his big mistakes. But still, I mean, this situation here that we're talking about, I think that Lisa just got so stuck in her head of what people, not just even people at the beach, maybe people at home was expecting of her that she's
so worried about what people are going to think when they watch.
Yes. And so she just made the wrong choice, I think.
That's an evolution of Survivor and of TV kind of in general that I don't think it's talked about and isn't really acknowledged in the show, but it definitely becomes people act different on this show and on Big Brother. I know it's a big issue as well. People are more worried about what the reaction is going to be online, how people are going to react to them versus just playing the game or just being themselves. Like they're so worried about virtue signaling or looking good or whatever. We talked about it a little bit with Jeff Kent because, you know, he's portrayed this bad boy of baseball. And on Survivor, it's like, okay, it's fine to do some of these bad things. Like there's still a line, but the line's much further. But for Lisa, remember, she's like this sweet, nice lady who was a sitcom star. So like there is no, like the line was super, I'm sure it was like 2 inches away from where she was already standing. You know what I mean? Like there's no line basically. You take one step, you're over it. Right. Baseball, there's a little bit more. Survivor, there's a lot. You can go walk quite a distance before you cross the line. And Lisa's like not used to that, clearly, in any shape or form. So
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we even got Abby Maria talking down to Lisa. I don't have more details on that when I wrote that note, but
I remember this distinctly.
Please tell me.
Basically, she said that she was gullible and that she she would just do whatever their group wanted because they were in charge and she wasn't. And it wasn't her fault. She was just naive and gullible, and she should stick with them because they knew what they were doing.
Well. Scoopin wins immunity. Abby then smacks Scoopin with a coconut. Again, like Pete saying, Scoopin makes horrible decisions. I appreciate this moment. Her smacking, she was smacking a coconut with a machete against a tree, I think, and the coconut flew off of the machete and hit Scoopin in the face.
Scoopin,
and it's like, sure, on one hand, it was supposed to be like, oh, look how accident prone he is, even when he's not doing accidents. But it's more like, I think Abby Marie is a hero now. When I make her story video, even this is like the one time where it's like the story isn't telling me it's a heroic moment, but I'm labeling it as a heroic moment.
That's fine.
Hero. Knocks Scoopin in the face with the coconut. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. This is also the episode where Penner explains to Lisa how Survivor is like a story. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? And like, I'm like, this is the first time on the show and maybe again later, but I don't know if another time where somebody basically explains the storytelling of Survivor on Survivor.
Right.
Like, as Jeff all day on his podcast will say, there's no such thing as a winner's edit. There's no such thing as us telling you who the winner's going to be. And it's like, what are you talking about? Survivor every season has a story. And typically the winner is not portrayed as some evil villain you should root against. Typically conveyed at worst, whatever. At best, yay, I was rooting for them. But like Survivor is definitely a story, and there are heroes and villains, as Survivor laid out when they made a season called Heroes versus Villains.
It's true.
I think this is a really great scene. Again, Lisa not swayed though.
No. She even voted for Penner at Tribal, which was weird.
She votes for Penner in the 5-4 artist vote. My gosh. Scoopin, I think, actually votes with him, doesn't he?
Scoopin votes yes to get out artists.
And I don't even like, that's the thing. Like the story is not making you try to care about Scoopin like that. It really wants you to care about Lisa, but Lisa still will not vote with Penner. Like, what is he doing wrong?
Right. It's crazy.
It is. All right. So artists voted off again. Who is artists?
Sure.
He had like 5 professionals this season. Episode 10, Scoopin says he needs multiple big moves to win. Agreed. Like Scoopin at this point has not really done anything. He does. I don't even know who Scoopin needs to sit against at the end, frankly, to win in a final 3 at this moment. Abby, Maria, and Lisa, I guess. That's the ideal final 3. Abby's still mad at Lisa, and I wrote, this is so dumb because she's just being mean to her for no reason.
And Lisa stuck with her and voted with her. Abby was mad at this point because like Scoopin flipped.
Right.
But she like took it out on Lisa.
Yep. So Abby does go on reward with a few others. And when she comes back from reward, she's like, oh my gosh, guys, it was like the most amazing reward ever. I don't remember exactly the reward was, but she was like boasting about every part of it. The food was the most amazing. The view, wonderful. And people are like, oh my gosh, can she shut up? Apparently there was an etiquette this season, and maybe this is every season, but it's really talked about here. The etiquette is you come back, you give the facts of the reward, and then you move on.
Yep.
People want to know what the reward is. They don't want to know more than that.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think that's something you do, maybe not like in great detail, but I think you see this frequently where people get back from reward and they mention what it was.
They're like, please don't.
But they kind of downplay it a little bit. And if they don't downplay it, then yes, other people are mad about it.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear about the thing that they lost in a challenge and then didn't get to enjoy that you got to enjoy. Yeah, especially the food part. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that you got food and they didn't. Why would they? Heck, we see in our seasons where people get upset when they don't get to pick for the reward. So this is consistent. It's just the etiquette of how much do you tell. Abby not getting it.
Right. You don't act like it was the most amazing thing ever and everyone else was suckers for losing out on it.
So Malcolm, after this, proposes himself, Denise, Scoopin, and Lisa in the final 4, and that actually does end up being the final 4. Though I think at a later point, he makes a different deal. Or no, it was a final. He ends up making a final 3 deal later on with Lisa and Scoopin to cut Denise at final 4. Right. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Okay, Carter wins immunity. It's all the Carter content you're getting this season. Carter wins immunity.
Good job.
Says a couple dumb things, wins immunity. Denise calls Abby not nice at Tribal. And like, this is like the nicest way of talking about Abby at Tribal. And she takes offense. And Jeff's like, maybe you just don't get the cultural differences. And Abby's like, yeah, maybe. But she doesn't. That's not how Abby's viewing it. She doesn't think, oh yeah, maybe there's a misunderstanding. Abby's like, no, I'm ticked about
personal,
this.
Yeah.
Abby's like the Michael Jordan from the documentary where he's like, and then they did this and I took it personally. And then they did that and I took it. Michael Jordan's taking everything personally, Mary. You didn't watch that one with me.
I did not.
Nope. But he was taking everything personally. So Pete's voted off 3-3-2. Sounds like an interesting vote, except it's Pete. So who cares? Some people really like Pete though. I said they were vocal about him, but I don't care.
He's not portrayed as a main character. So
no, he's not even portrayed as a character I should really care about. Yeah. Abby does play her idol here though. That's important because now she's going to start faking an idol.
Right.
But she plays her real idol here. We go to episode 11. Abby tells Scoopin that it isn't cute that they were mean to her. Nobody thought it was. But I think it's just that everyone agrees that Abby is like the worst. And she's like, it's not cute. It's not cute to be mean to me, guys. Like no one said it was.
No. I think she cries here, but.
Oh, is this where she cries?
That could have been later. Her? I don't remember.
I forget too, dude. There's a lot of Abby content. She wants us. So we go to the auction, and I think this is not the first time, no, because Troyzan sits on his money as well. She wants to sit on her money for advantage. This is her and Troyzan kind of bring the end of the auction as we know it. Like it's the beginning. It gets amplified in Cagayan, which we talked about when we did Cagayan with Tony and Spencer sitting on their money and Tasha, which was 3 people, as a lot. This time it's just Abby and Maria. Last time in One World it was just Troyzan. But come Worlds Apart, it gets really out of hand. And that's when they stop doing the auction.
Gotcha.
I know it's a spoiler for future, but like, I want to point this out because this matters. This is like her and Troyzan set the standard for sit on your money, get an advantage. This auction though, Mary, what'd you think about it?
I mean, it was pretty good. Had a lot of good items. I don't remember anything gross, right?
No, there's nothing bad. I think it's the only auction without anything bad.
Which was kind of cool.
Carter though, every time you buy something for everyone.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That's really it. Carter's the only one not like get an individual item.
And Abby got an advantage.
She did. And what was the advantage?
I think it's just in the challenge. She gets an extra step in the challenge done for her.
But she pretends.
Yes. Abby does pretend. She said, I'm going to read half of the note because that's what I'm allowed to read. And I'm going to rip up the note so no one else can read it.
Like it's a Mission Impossible note. Like it's going to explode or something.
Right. So it was a really good advantage. I mean, she got to go straight to the final round and
she won immunity as a result.
Yes.
So great advantage.
It was a good advantage.
But I would find it hard to believe that she would get 2 for 1.
Yeah.
If I were there.
I don't think anyone really believed her ever when she talked about this.
But at the same time, nobody was going to like try to get her off because of what if she did?
Well, she had immunity.
Right. But I'm saying, okay, but we're going to track this because next episode, she'll play it off like she has an idol. And then when she doesn't play an idol, people are like, there's no way she has an idol. She would have played it. I know it's not this episode, but I'm saying like she actually buys herself 2 tribals with it sounds so absurd when you watch it, but then it works.
She buys 1 tribal.
So she bought the advantage. The advantage got her this immunity.
Sure. Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then she bought herself another tribal.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Which she never should have gotten, but because of good gameplay, she did that. Kind of like Tony when he gets a super idol in Kaigayon and goes, oh, it's good through Final 4. And it wasn't. It was only good through Final 5.
But you could also argue that this just increased her target. If she would have just come back and said, man, nobody likes me. That sucks. And then start talking to people individually and be like, you should take me. Nobody likes me. She could have gotten much farther. But because she starts lying about having an idol and because she's so dramatic and causing chaos, she gets voted out as soon as she's available.
I love that when she gets back to camp, though, she's like demanding an apology from Penner. Penner apologized to me. For what? What did I do? He does apologize to her because he knows to like make peace. But at the same time, he's like, what?
Yeah, this is where they're sitting and talking and she cries and he gives her a hug at the end. And it shows like, yeah, Penner's a genuinely nice guy. He didn't have to do any of that. But
the Abby's human.
Yeah.
Well, she wins immunity. Malcolm's like, good, we can get rid of Penner. Lisa talks to Penner about how he turned down their final 3 deal. And he's like, well, you want me to lie to you? Apparently the answer was yes.
Yeah.
Apparently the answer was yes. I think he was treating it differently. Like, because it was Lisa. Like, had Malcolm come up and be like, hey, you want me to final 3? I bet you Penner says yes. But I think it's because it's Lisa and they have a genuine connection. I wonder if that's why he's like, well, let me think about it. He didn't want to lie to her because he like respected her beyond just this game.
Could be.
I wonder. That'd be something I would ask Penner if I were to ask Penner. So he is gone in a 4-3 vote. And as he's leaving, he's like whistling a tune. Tells him to suck eggs. And Jeff just shrugs his shoulder.
Yeah. It's probably one of the best send-offs ever, I think.
Penner knew that they were going to include it in the show. It's like one of those times where it's like, okay, the show can't cut this out, can they? I mean, probably, but at the same time.
Yeah.
You keep it lighthearted, they'll probably keep it in. We go to episode 12, and Abby Maria is now lying about an idol. The idol from the note that she supposedly
talked about. Yeah.
And she's so obvious about it. And she's so blatant. It's not like she mentioned it once.
All the time.
It's like all the time. Yeah. And that's what we see. Imagine how many times she actually said, I have an idol. Oh, I'll just play my idol.
Yeah, I'm not going home, so you better figure out who's going home.
It's like talking to a child where the child like will not stop reminding you, like, I already know you told me this 10 times. But they're like, oh, yeah, my birthday's tomorrow. My birthday's tomorrow. My birthday's tomorrow. Yeah, I'm aware. I know your birthday's tomorrow. I know we planned it together. Yeah, but my birthday's tomorrow. Like, yeah, I know. That's Abby Maria. I have an idol. I have an idol. I have an idol. Okay, yeah, I heard you. But it's like so obvious. I'm actually surprised people didn't like just go, there's no way.
I think everyone did say there's just no way. But one of the things about this season is there are smart players. And just because she doesn't have an idol doesn't mean you can't get other people out. You know what I mean? Like, you still make the smart move, even if you think you know what's going on, because you never really know everything that's going on. So it's always just make the smart move.
And on the other hand, if Abby Marie ends up at the final 3, it's fine. That's how I'd feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine. If anything, I'm surprised people didn't want her there, but I feel like she was such a pain in the neck to live with that people wanted her gone for that reason.
Yeah.
So we have the loved ones reward, Mary.
Yes.
And Mary went to the kitchen to like go get like a glass of water or something during this. And I was like, where's she going? Mary's going to miss it. And Mary, this is when Lisa's brother comes out. Sister. I was like, Mary better not miss this. You didn't, but I was like worried because you stepped in the kitchen and drank water.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mary, what did you think?
I probably wouldn't have thought anything about it if you hadn't said something. I did think, oh, this guy's way too young to be her brother, but
he's 20 years younger. As we
they
learned.
did address that and say that he's 20 years younger. Yeah, it was a little weird, but
sister,
there are weird people in the world, and
sister,
she is 20 years older than him. So I don't know.
If anyone, this might be an obscure reference. Look up the Folgers coffee commercial with the brother and sister from 2009. Kind of reminds me of that. It's a little weird.
I think
it's a little
he
weird.
wants to make sure everyone knows it's his sister, not his mom.
Do you think that's why he ran out yelling, sister, sister? Oh, sister.
Yeah, I really
do. She doesn't ever go brother. She just cries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she said brother, but I don't think she says it once.
I don't know. You know, there's some weird families that get reunited on Survivor. And this will probably one of them that ranks up there. But do I want to overanalyze it?
I would cry if you came out, Mary. And I would say sister.
Yeah.
I would cry, be like, it's Mary. Jeff would be like, here's your wife, Mary. And I would say sister.
Oh my gosh.
Just to make everyone go, what? They'd be like, what state are you from? I'd be like, Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And then I would not hug you and I would slap you on TV.
On not live television, on national television?
National television.
Mary.
Be like, Jeff, I didn't even want to come out here.
Sister. Come here and hug me, sister. And then we kiss because we're married, but people feel like he's kissing his sister. You know what? That would harken back to season 1, Mary. Let me inform you. Greg, season 1, they all get their loved ones tape. Greg's tape is from his sister, his actual sister.
Okay.
And it is super inappropriate. She's like, oh yeah, when I see you, we'll go, And it was like a lot of sexual innuendo. And Greg goes into confessional. He's like, yeah, isn't that crazy? He's like, my sister. And like, oh, what if like we were together? Like, oh, it'd be so like weird and crazy. And Rudy goes, I think it's incest. That's what he says. And then he says on Rudy, they get to send a tape back. And Rudy goes, if we killed him, would that be doing you a favor?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, season 1 was a bit weird.
Sounds like it.
Mary
I'm glad we never finished it.
That. Well, we tried starting. You and I tried starting and watching it once so many years ago,
rough,
before the channel even started. And Mary and I were both like, "It's a little rough," but I have watched it multiple times since then.
Multiple times. Okay.
Right, I made multiple videos about people in the season. I think I made 5 Borneo videos so far. So yeah, at least 5 Borneo videos. So okay. Anyways, Lisa's brother, he's just so goofy. Malcolm and his brother win, but he does pick Lisa and her brother to go on the reward.
Mm-hmm.
Mistake. Little does he know, this is actually a mistake.
Yes.
Right, because Lisa's brother kicks her into gear.
I mean, kind of. Yes.
Right. He does.
Right.
She wanted Malcolm out.
Lisa's brother convinces her to not play with her heart, play with her head.
Right.
You know,
get out Malcolm.
Get out Malcolm if you can.
Right.
And he really is very logical about it all.
Mm-hmm.
And she trusts him and she believes him because it's her brother and not another player.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have to second guess it. So yes, but did Malcolm know that? No.
No, I'm saying that Malcolm unintentionally, had Malcolm not wanted immunity here, he unintentionally put a massive target on his back.
Sure. But I think he has a big target on his back no matter what. Like, even Denise knew Malcolm had to go eventually. Right. I don't know. It just didn't seem like Malcolm's name had been brought up as often as you would think at this point in time. So many other people, especially Penner. Well, yes.
Jeff, Pete.
But that's the
artists
thing.
went before Malcolm.
That's the thing. Penner just left, like a vote ago?
It was literally last episode, yeah.
Yeah. So in this situation, the other threats are just going to now start emerging, in my opinion.
So you're saying it took Penner no matter Penner gone earlier, would Malcolm's name have?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So how come people like artists went before Malcolm and Penner?
Because those are numbers. You're just whittling down the other side's numbers.
Yeah. Penner was vulnerable a few times before he actually got voted off.
Mm-hmm.
Well. Malcolm does win immunity, and Lisa's upset. Her only shot at a big move is gone. And I put, like, Denise isn't available.
Yeah.
Like, because if she listened to Penner, she'd be thinking about the Survivor story. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? Well, the good guy right now is Denise, who's on the tribe that
kept losing.
Yep. And then now she's gone to every tribal. And now here she is in episode 12. And she's still here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But she's so focused on Malcolm. Lisa's not good at this game.
No.
Even with her brother's help, she's like a horse with blinders on. She cannot get out of the lane.
Well, to be fair, she's not the only one voting. But yes.
Right.
I
but
see
for the story, it's so focused on Lisa.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
It's like, I expect more.
True.
It's like the story of the woman who won't get off her hands. Her hands are warm from how long she's been sitting on them. I hope so. I hope they're toasty because she's sitting on them. Carter's voted out here. Again, really Carter.
Yeah.
We're worried about Carter over Denise.
The big threat Carter.
Big threat Carter because he won one immunity. Carter. Well, I did meet him one time at a grocery store, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to be a douche and ask for his autograph. And he's like you're doing now? And I was like, huh? And he was like, huh? And he kept cutting me off, Mary. And then I saw him. He had 15 Milky Ways in his hand. He tried walking out of the store without paying for them. And the ladies, Mary's giving me a look. Okay, we'll stop that. Episode 13. Elisa says now she wants to go to the end with people she can beat. Now?
She got rid of all of them.
Now? Yeah, now? Well, Abby Maria's still there. But even then. Even then. Who's the other person she's sitting next to?
I don't know.
Seriously, there's 5 people left. Who is left? Who's your third? Really, Scoopin' and Abby Maria. I don't think Lisa wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think, shockingly, I can't believe this. I think Scoopin' wins.
Probably out of those 3.
And with this
3. Jury, yeah.
Right. It would have taken Lisa leading the charge to get out, her being the reason that Malcolm and Denise go to make any impact because people do not like Abby Maria.
Yeah.
Scoopin', I feel like the Scoopin' gets a vote from Penner based on what we saw. Like Penner generally respects Scoopin'. He doesn't respect him more than Denise, as we learned, but he does generally respect Scoopin'. I think Carter votes Scoopin' come the final 3. That's the only vote Scoopin' gets. I forgot who voted for Lisa. Could you check that while we're talking?
Yeah.
Just look at that list. So Scoopin' wins reward. He takes Malcolm and Lisa with him. Abby Maria's mad about this because she wanted to go on a reward. But again, what else is new with Abby Maria? Malcolm, while on this reward with Lisa and Scoopin', this is when he makes the final 3 deal. They all agree. Denise gets cut at 4. And I think from Scoopin' and Lisa's perspective, it makes sense to, of course, agree to this because what if Malcolm wins final immunity? I don't want him cutting me. Let's let him cut Denise. But they made the right move here. Mary's still looking to see who voted Lisa. And someone voted Lisa, right?
RC was the only one.
Okay, yeah. RC votes Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa had a vote.
One vote.
Already built in, basically, with RC. Scoopin' had a vote built in with Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your built-in votes. All the other votes with Denise gone and Malcolm gone and Abby Maria there are up for grabs. I don't think I think, though, I was telling you this when we were watching live, Abby Maria, I think, gets Pete and Artis's votes. Artis is a sourpuss, and Pete was working with Abby Maria. I think that's 2 votes she gets. I'm dead serious.
It's possible.
Mary's like very doubting me right now with her look. I'm serious. I think she gets Pete and I'm not saying she gets more than Pete and Artis, but I am saying that I think she gets Pete and Artis.
Yeah, but that's the only 2. Honestly.
Right, but that's 2 more. That's
it would have been a closer final 3. It would have been
a closer final 3. Yeah. Believe it or not, Abby Maria as one of the final 3. What a terrible final 3 that would be. Scoopin' Abby Maria and
Lisa.
You know what? In retrospect, I wish Abby Maria would have won.
Oh wow!
If that was the final 3,
it'd be like the worst season ever.
No. Anyways, I like chaos. You know this on Survivor. Okay. People though are like, okay, she didn't play her idol at the Carter vote. She doesn't have an idol. She would have played it. They see right through it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Malcolm makes the final 3 deal with Scoopin' and Lisa. Denise is in. What did I write? Denise is in plain. Lisa prays.
Pain.
Oh, pain. Denise is in pain.
Yeah, I remember she had that weird pain that lasted for like a day or 2. I don't remember.
Right. Lisa prays over Denise, and Abby goes, "Good. We have an immunity challenge." Good.
She's
Good that
happy
Denise is in pain.
Oh, because she has a shot then?
Right. Yeah. Malcolm wins immunity anyways. Didn't matter. Ballsy move to play his idol for Abby and knock out Denise. I wrote this because I'm like, this is Malcolm's time.
Right.
To make a move. Save Abby Maria. Make her loyal to you. Knock out Denise. Bring Abby Maria to the final 3.
Yep.
Correct.
But he does not do that.
And this also would not go against the final 3 plan he made with Scoopin and Lisa. Sure, they wouldn't be super pleased because they're trying to get Abby Maria, but he didn't knock them out. He said, I'm going to final 3 with you too. But I'm not, I need Denise out. And I think the move here for him is to take out Denise in retrospect, all 2020 hindsight. Sure. We're not there playing. But this is his moment. This is when he needed to do it and he would have won.
Yes.
Well, potentially. He's not winning the final immunity, as we learned.
It would have been it would have been the smarter choice. I think he still thought he could beat her in final immunity.
Right.
And he wanted to go out like as the good guy. If he backstabbed her this way and kept Abby Marie that everyone hates.
Denise probably doesn't vote for him, you think?
Yeah, I think he would have lost respect of some people. This way.
Maybe, but
I mean,
it's risky.
He was really confident that he could beat her, I think.
Right. And why wouldn't he be? He didn't know what the final immunity is going to be.
Right.
But I will say that, let's say he does that. Denise is gone. Abby's still here. Scoopin wins final immunity still. Does Scoopin keep Malcolm or does Scoopin keep Abby Maria? I think he keeps Abby Maria. So yes. Malcolm was in, I guess,
we're assuming
either way.
We're assuming Scoopin is smart and cares. Like, I think
Scoopin playing a halfway decent game. Halfway decent.
He was delusional. He thought he could beat.
He thought he won the game. I know.
Yeah, he thought he would. He thought he was done. He thought he won. I don't think he.
That's an interesting fact, by the way, people. He thought going into the finale, their actual reunion, that he had beat Denise.
Yeah,
that has been confirmed.
After watching the
show, he thought he had beat Denise.
Yeah.
To be fair, Denise's story was not so overt and obviously a winner. So I could see Scoopin in his delusion, in his Ponzi scheme delusions, thinking, I won.
Yeah. But he didn't.
No, like he had built it up in his head over all these years that when I come back, I'm going to win.
There's also like, and I don't know how true this is, but there has to be some sort of, I don't know what you call it, like short-term blindness or something in this game where all you're thinking about is the next vote. All you're thinking about is getting through to the next vote. All you're thinking,
that's
like
the food talking. You don't have enough food to think.
Eventually, yeah, you think about it in long term, but I'm sure Malcolm, like he gets to this point and then he might have been like, oh crap, that would have been a good time to take Denise out, but he didn't. So
I wonder if Malcolm in retrospect, I've listened to a bunch of behind the scenes interviews. I don't remember this one. If Malcolm in retrospect thinks he should have knocked out Denise here, I think this is the time to do it. I don't think you wait for final 4. This was it.
Yeah, that would have been the time.
Well, what do we really know though? All right, so Abby tells Scoopin and Lisa that you two are goats in the final 3. I don't know what this is supposed to convince them. I guess to make a move on Malcolm and Denise.
Yeah.
Is her goal here?
Yes.
By telling them they're goats, and she is correct, but they're not going to listen to her.
No.
She's Abby Maria.
That's not how you get anyone to work with you.
And then at tribal council, she's like, Scoopin is a moron and an idiot. Again, correct. As we have many times this season. Correct. Not the right thing to say.
No.
Correct, though.
No. Not the way to go about this.
Malcolm does not play the idol because Denise asks him to. He's like, we'll see. And he's like, I'll take it as a souvenir and bring it back home.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Survivor stopped letting people bring it home.
Yes.
I'm not saying this, but this is one of the reasons. Because I feel like Survivor wants you to play these idols.
Yeah.
So in case you didn't know, later seasons, they don't get to bring them home. It stays with the show. So it encourages people to play them. They also just made it like so simple now. It's like not even fun to look at the idols anymore. They're like little beads on a string.
Right. Nothing you want to hang on your wall.
Yeah. Whereas like these idols, like the ones, especially ones pulled off these rice baskets, like these are cool looking idols.
Mm-hmm.
Right. By letting them take them home, mistake. Malcolm, not that I think it changes anything here, but I'm like, really, he's not going to play his idol for Denise.
Yeah,
he's
it
already
wouldn't mattered. But yes. Hey,
right.
It was, he knew Denise was safe and there was no need to do it in his mind. And he wanted a souvenir, as you said.
We go to the finale. It is night 36. I think because of Dana quitting, it's the final 4. If I were there on night 36 and it's the final 4, I'm crapping my pants. It's a final 2 this season. It wasn't mentioned on the show, but that's what I'd be thinking if I was there. I'm like, oh crap. We just voted off Abby on night 36. 37, 38, there's 2 more vote offs. 39 is obviously final tribal. I'd be crapping my pants at the final 2 of the season.
But it wasn't.
I'm aware. I'm saying I would be crapping my pants.
Yeah. It doesn't get mentioned at all, but it doesn't mean the contestant
Micronesia is not that far in the rearview mirror.
Right.
At this point, like, sure, it's 9 seasons ago, but like that's that in a real lifetime, like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is not that long ago.
Right.
To be thinking, holy crap, like this could be a surprise final 2 again. I wonder if anyone even mentioned that, and they just didn't leave in the show because obviously it's not relevant. So Scoopin thinks he can beat Malcolm. Just not in challenges. He just thinks he could beat Malcolm.
Right. At the end.
Like, oh, come on, man. We then get a reward for a challenge advantage, which probably makes everybody go, oh, phew, we're not voting off anybody.
Right.
Malcolm wins it. He wins the reward for, and this is probably just reaffirms I'm going to win final immunity.
Yes.
And why he doesn't need to, why he didn't feel like he needed to cut Denise.
Mm-hmm.
Had this been this would have been the final 5 immunity had Dana not quit earlier in the season.
Right.
Because on the Dana quit episode, they still voted somebody off, so it threw off the whole schedule. Malcolm is worried that Denise's story is too similar to his. Is he just now thinking about this?
Like I said, he had to have some sort of short-term blindness.
What are your thoughts? If Denise and Malcolm both the end, do you think Denise still pulls it off, or is Malcolm guaranteed to win?
I'm not too sure. It seemed like Malcolm had just as many relationships as Denise did. And maybe even more so, like maybe he was slightly the more social of the two, from what I remember. But at the same time, I think that people, when they did talk to Denise, felt genuinely cared about and like she was interested in them, except for Abby Marie, obviously. So I don't know. I think it would have been really close. I think Malcolm does still win it because he won more immunities and he was just more of a, like I said, I feel like he was a more vocal player.
I guess in theory, it's Malcolm versus Denise versus who? Who's the third person?
Scoopin.
Because remember, Scooping at Carter's vote. I'm just saying, there's a vote. Like, is this Carter still vote for Scoopin? Probably. I don't think Carter swayed. I don't think Carter's swayed by
probably not
Malcolm being there. Maybe because Carter comes from the Red Tribe and he didn't live with Scoopin or Malcolm.
Yeah.
And it's not like Denise living with Denise convinced him.
It's hard to know what went on in Carter's mind.
Well, there was one time he was at a grocery store and he had 15 Milky Ways. Man. That was a weird time for him. All right. Denise, by the way, at this point, Malcolm wins this reward. It's like, hey, we could go to final 3. And he's like, maybe.
Interesting idea. Yeah.
Bro, I'm not saying that's the difference maker, but I am saying that doesn't help.
Yeah, I think at this point they had to know they were gunning for each other. Like they were the only 2 actual contestants left.
He couldn't even placate her, Mary.
What is she gonna say? Like she's gonna know he's lying. Like I don't know.
Well, she brought it up. Why'd she bring it up?
And she might have actually gone through with it. I don't know, but I really doubt it. I really feel like she was trying to see where he was at. If he was already thinking this, because like you can tell when somebody's, like you can tell when people are lying in general. And also if it's something that they've already thought of this, I think she was just checking in to see where he was at. And by him saying, we'll see, she knew.
Dude.
Just for sure.
It's like Penner not agreeing to final 3 deal. Like what is the deal with people this season and not agreeing to final 3s? Shut your mouth and agree. Like what's the worst that's going to happen?
Well, the worst that's going to happen is Malcolm
she's going to vote him off anyways.
Yes, Denise, let's go together. And then Malcolm wins immunity, and then Malcolm votes out Denise, and then Denise doesn't vote for him.
He really was set that he was going to win immunity,
yes.
wasn't he?
And then he was going to get Denise off. Like that was his plan. He didn't think there was any other scenario happening there.
This final immunity challenge, it's okay as a challenge, but I really like the location. Wish they do use the location more. Maybe we'll see it again in season 26 Caramoan, because again, same filming locations. But yeah, I really like this location, like this like really cool hilltop shot of them doing this challenge. This is a challenge we did see back in Micronesia where Amanda beat Sari, which ended up being ironic because Sari's like, if there's a challenge about steady hands and I lose it, then I would be ashamed. I would be shamed as a nurse. And she ends up losing that challenge, which is about steady hands. So anyways, Malcolm blows this hard. He's the first one out twice.
Yeah. He had the advantage, which allowed him to drop once.
Right.
And then
redo it.
Right. And then he redid it and he was out again.
I cannot believe it. I wonder if it was nerves.
Well, yeah, he said that once. He said something in a confessional, something about when he got nervous, his hand shook.
Yeah.
And once they
he
start,
knew this is $1 million.
Yeah, it's just you can't just stop it.
And there's not you can't run on adrenaline really on this one. You can't be like, okay, I'm running and like throwing a ball or anything like that.
You can't just push through it. Yeah,
right.
You have to calm yourself.
You have to actually calm yourself. And maybe that's not Malcolm's strong suit. Every challenge he won like involved moving a lot, from what I recall. I don't remember him winning puzzles.
I don't remember.
No, I remember him winning non-puzzle
physical
challenges.
stuff. Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Maybe he won a puzzle and I just forgot. Yeah, so he blows it hard. Scoopin ends up winning immunity. He's like, Scoopin's like, wow, I won immunity. It's like, all right, I'm not really rooting for you, Scoopin, though. I really actually wanted Denise to win. I actually, in retrospect, I thought Denise had won this challenge, and seeing her lose it makes me go, oh, I thought Denise was the one who ultimately made the decision, but not really.
Nope.
No. And you know what? That probably helped her, actually.
With Malcolm, yeah.
Right. Not that I think Malcolm votes Denise either way. I think he's not salty in the least.
Right, yeah.
But I'm saying, yes, at the end of the day, it still helps because it wasn't like it was her choice to get rid of Malcolm. And if anything, that could have hurt her come final 3, but it did not.
Right.
So, yeah, Malcolm's voted off. Very sad. First time you and I watched season, Mary, we wanted Malcolm to win. We were rooting for Malcolm.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I really feel like he, like I said, in their duo, he was the flashier one. He's the one you noticed more. And they both played a very similar game, a very good game. And so, yeah. But I think the Denise win is still satisfactory.
So next time, Mary, he'll be on the very next season, 26. My opinion, he plays a flashy game again. So he came in ready. He already knew he lost the season. Weeks later, plays again. He's ready. How far do you think he makes it in season 26? Mary, by the way, has never seen it, knows nothing.
I think he goes before the merge.
Before the merge, okay. I also want to run through a few people. Francesca comes back. She's voted off first in 22. How far do you think she makes it in 26?
I have no idea who you're talking about. So
Francesca was the very first one where Philip like couldn't say her name because his mouth is too dry. Mary. Okay. We watched it the past year.
So pre-merge? I don't know.
Okay. I love you so much. How far do you think Philip Shepard makes it next season?
Nah. Post-merge.
You think he makes the post-merge?
Yeah.
Okay. Dawn from South Pacific.
Post-merge.
Okay. Cochran.
Post-merge.
Okay. Brenda from Nicaragua.
Pre-merge.
You remember all these people who don't remember Francesca.
I remember vaguely. I remember Philip not being able to say her name.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Eric from Micronesia, who gave away immunity to Natalie. That Eric. He's back again.
Pre-merge.
Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I'm missing. Brandon Hance from South Pacific.
Pre-merge.
Pre-merge, okay. I don't think there's anyone I'm missing off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. 16. Corinne from Gabon, who made that really ugly speech to Sugar about how she should stop crying about her dead dad and take some pills. That lady. She was also an Amazing Race. We watched her on that.
Yeah. Too. I don't know. Pre-merge.
Okay. We'll see if your predictions are right. Now, I'm not keeping track of any of these, but for those who are listening and already know the results, and I already know the results, we'll see if you're right about these people. Okay. Watch. I hope I didn't miss anybody. All right. Let's go to the final 3. All right. Final 3. We go to Final Tribal. Denise, like I was at every tribal. She's only safe one time, though that doesn't get mentioned. I notated that. Smart of her not to even mention that. She actually won immunity once because it was a one guy, one girl wins it. I think we kind of skimmed over that. But yeah, she was at every tribal, only safe once, but doesn't mention that part. And I think that's actually a smart omission. If people want to remember it, great.
Right.
I think she omits it. I don't recall her saying it, so I apologize if I'm wrong. Again, Lisa admits she wasn't playing the game until halfway through episode 12. Is it true? Yes. Does it look good? No. Come on.
I mean, at least she's just going to be honest. No matter what, she's going to be honest. So she can't help it. And at the same time, you can still spin that to be like, I wasn't great at the game, or I really started, or I put my foot down, halfway through the game.
Things were going my way until halfway through episode 12 where I was like, okay, time to make a change.
Right.
But she doesn't present it like it. She says I wasn't playing the game.
I didn't have to play the game, really, because we kept winning.
Well, it's not, that's a bad way. I think saying I didn't have to play the game is also a bad way of presenting it. It sounds like you weren't playing the game again. The issue is you want to say you're playing the game, but you changed the way you were playing. I think if you had to sell it, not that I think this changes anything in terms of how the votes turn out here, but yeah, it just doesn't sound good. It's not a good thing to go to Final Tribal and be like, yeah, I wasn't really playing the game until my brother came and he made me realize I should play the game. Like, bro, that was like 2 episodes ago. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like I got my letter from home in episode 6 and I changed my mind. Sure. Okay.
True.
Sure.
Yeah.
But no, episode 12, that's
a bit late.
Artis is mad at everyone. That's why I mean he's a sourpuss. By the way, we watched the Ponderosa videos. He's a sourpuss there. So is Jeff Kent. Believe it or not, the guy who was bad about Obama taking his money, also sourpuss on Ponderosa. Artis is mad about them not playing a loyal game and lying. Like, okay, I guess. All right. Yeah. That's why I said when I wrote it down. Carter congratulates Lisa and Scoopin. Asks Scoopin when Carter was going to be voted off. And Scoopin says, Carter, you were too big of a threat. This works. Carter votes for Scoopin.
Yep. It's true.
Carter's not hard to please, I guess. This is like a very easy answer to give. Carter, you were too big of a threat. It's, by the way, used time and time again, and it proves effective time and time again.
It's true.
It really does. Okay, Pete compares Lisa to Judas. Now, for those not familiar with Jesus and the Bible and Christianity, Judas is the one who betrayed Jesus. Even if you didn't know the story, you might have known that. But he compares Lisa to Judas? Get real. I feel like that was a shot at her being a Christian too. That's what it felt like to me.
It felt like just being mean to be mean.
Right.
She was one that was loyal the whole time.
Right. What is this? Like, you're like Jude? No, she's not.
Yeah.
Candace on Heroes versus Villains is the only time I think I've ever compared anyone to Judas, because Candace literally betrays the Heroes tribe right as if they had kept Candace, they become the majority and they win the game. Candace betrays them that episode. To me, that was a Judas move. But like still, Lisa, really?
Right. No one died.
It felt like a shot at her.
Yeah.
Frankly, on a personal level. Kind of sucks. RC knew Lisa was a threat and seems to like her, I wrote down. This is before I knew she voted for Lisa. So that ends up being conveyed correctly by the show. And she doesn't like Scoopin, which is weird because her and Scoopin are working together for so long.
Yeah.
And in fact, when they reach the merge, like, yeah, RC and Scoopin been working together. So I wonder what changed.
I don't know.
Maybe she knew he was running a Ponzi scheme, amongst other things. She knew. She sensed it. Just joking. Mary's like, I'm not going to get this joke. Malcolm says Denise just appeases people. True. She does all the time. Even in that, he's like, please do not appease me as you're answering my question.
Yeah, I think that's difficult because it's generally part of her personality. Like, it's so ingrained in her. Yeah. So
Jinx.
Him like saying that and being annoyed at her a little bit was a bit rough. And maybe he was just playing it up. I don't know. But I think he was genuinely mad at her in the moment. He's also
a locked vote for her.
Yes.
He's not voting for Scoopin and Lisa.
No, he just had to vent a little bit.
Yeah, he got off his chest. And she says, I played by listening and observing. I mean, really, that is really how she played. But also that's the therapist answer. That's what the therapists do. And I mean, Denise is the most therapist I've ever seen on Survivor.
It's true.
Out of all the therapists we've seen, definitely nothing like the therapist from 45. I was gonna say it earlier, but there's a therapist on 45. If you haven't got to it yet, just know, compare the therapist on 45 to Denise.
And which one would you hire?
Night and day. Night and day. Yeah, right. Exactly. Who'd you hire? Denise, I would assume I'd hire. Scoopin says, one of his family mottos is, are you going to watch the news or are you going to make it? And I wrote, awkward. Because again, 3 months after this episode airs is when he gets busted for all the violations. A year after this is when people are like, he's running a Ponzi scheme. And then of course, a few years later, he actually gets busted for the Ponzi scheme. And again, the child pee. And it's like, holy crap, Scoop. It's like this season did not even realize how prophetic it was. Scoop makes horrible decisions. Scoopin's an idiot. Smack him in the face with the coconut. Are you going to make the news or are you going to watch the news? I mean, it was all there. And the show didn't even know when they were putting it together. That's the thing. None of this was public until after the show aired. None of this. Crazy, huh? How people had a read on how nutso Scoopin is. Okay, so the jury is so bitter. It's my general note on the jury. Penner says Denise has been a bee, a female dog.
I thought he was harsh. I thought he was angry, but I guess he was just really passionately talking. He does vote for it. Well, and he also says like Lisa and Scoopin are non-factors, basically. True. He says that to the jury. And so I don't know, like, I think he was still just emotional about everything. Right. He wanted to be up there, but he recognized Denise was the best player. Yeah, but him calling her a bee was kind of like, really? Denise? I mean, was there something we didn't see that made her that way? Because I didn't get that vibe. Kind of like calling Lisa a Judas, like, really? Really? Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get that. I will say Penner, though, every time he's on the jury is iconic because
when he was on the Cook Islands jury, and he's like, Ozzy, I don't understand why I'm supposed to give $1 million to someone who's so entitled and acts like they're owed it. And I'm paraphrasing for him, but like that season, you're like, Ozzy entitled? No way. But then you watch Ozzy in subsequent seasons, you're like, oh no, Ozzy's entitled. Penner knew something,
right?
Saw something that we didn't see that season. And it's like, okay, so is Penner right again? And maybe we didn't see it. Like, I don't remember Denise coming back from Winners at War and being mean. I don't remember that.
I doubt that.
Yeah, we'll have to pay attention to that when we rewatch Winners at War later. Like, is Denise a different person? I don't remember that. But again, we haven't watched that in like 6 years.
True.
So it's been a while. Penner says, Lisa and Scoop might have a perfect record of not having their names written down after tonight. And I was like, dang, this jury is so bitter. That was a good one, though.
Pretty harsh.
I mean, they both got their names written down once. But again, that was pretty good. Yep, Denise wins 6-1 to 1. So we go to the reunion. And Mary, Sarah Dawson, just lays one on Jeff.
Yeah. I was surprised. You had to like, we normally don't watch the full reunion, and you were like skipping around trying to find it, and you wouldn't tell me what it was.
I was like, there's one moment, but it happened so fast. I was like, I don't know where it's at. And I finally found it on YouTube and I showed it to you. Yeah, it's just like
surprising.
Almost a blink and you miss it. Like if you could have gone to the bathroom for 10 seconds, come back and missed that this happened. Because like the show's not ready for it. She runs into frame where Jeff is.
Right.
Smacks him on the lips. And he goes, good thing my wife kisses better. You know, Sarah Dawson doesn't care.
Right.
She clearly didn't. He's married. She doesn't give a rip.
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, Mary, next season is Caramone. I am looking forward to it. Is generally considered the end of the dark era, end of the dark ages, whatever it's called. It's still part of it though. So it's split. I really enjoy it, but I don't know if you're going to enjoy it. I am interested in us watching it and seeing if you enjoy it. It is a messy season, top to bottom. So fans versus favorites too. That'll be next time. All right, let's answer some of your all's questions and then we'll get out of here. All right, first question, and these are on Patreon, by the way. Everything goes up early on Patreon. I know I mentioned that earlier, but this is also where we get our questions from. Tristan asks, would the season have been an even better received than it is already if Malcolm had won over Denise? Do you think it's higher ranked if Malcolm wins, Mary?
I think so. Just because, as we talked about, like Malcolm's game was easier to see and he was more flashy, maybe a little bit more likable. So yeah, I could see that.
Ian asked, do you think the season... Is there anything from the season you wish you had come back again that didn't get to come back? So Abby comes back, Denise and Malcolm will come back. Anyone else you wish had come back after this season?
I mean, Penner, but doesn't Penner come back?
No, this is his last time.
I don't know if I would want him to play again though.
I feel like now in our current day and age, Penner's gotta be like 6 years old. And while that doesn't like we've seen people that old, it's like, all right, are we gonna have him play for his fourth time at this age? Maybe. I want to point out that in between this season and current day, his wife does pass away. And it is he is mentioned on Winners at War by Yule, because Yule and him are like really good friends after Cook Islands. And Yule like has a whole fund to raise money for, I believe, I forgot what she had. I'm so sorry. I don't remember what his wife had. Mary will look it up real quick. But they did a whole fundraiser. It was actually in the show proper. So Penner does get mentioned again in that sense, but he doesn't play again. I'm not sure if I want to play again at this point.
Yeah, you're right. It probably would be too much.
Can you look up what it was?
It's ALS.
ALS. I thought I was going to say ADS, but I knew that wasn't right. That's like aim down sights, which is a video.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I know. That's why I was like, I don't want to say this. That sounds dumb. Okay. Ian also asked, do you think the Scoopin' situation harms the season? Yeah, a little bit for me.
If you know about it, then sure. Clearly, I didn't know about
that's
it.
What he means.
But yes, yeah, that would be a downer.
I do think there's a lot of prophetic things said this season, though. That's like, oh, yeah.
It's almost like
the show knew, but the show, how could the show have known at the same time?
No, I'm saying it's almost like at least you have that to kind of help.
Scoop makes normal decisions, gets smacked face by a coconut. Are you going to make the news? Are you going to watch the news? It's like, oh, okay. I see Survivor asks, who wins if Lisa and Scoop and vote out Denise in the final 5 instead of Abby? So like what I was proposing, if Malcolm gets out Denise instead of Abby. So we say Abby, Scoopin'. I think we're theoretically saying if Lisa, Scoopin', and Abby are final 3, who wins? We're just going to call it. Don't think too much about it. I'm going to say Scoopin', but I really wish it had been Abby, but I can't see how most of the jury votes Abby.
No. I can see more votes for Lisa than Abby.
Yeah. I think Abby, though, gets 2 votes. I think Pete and Aris vote Abby. I really do. I could be wrong, but I think so. Patrick asked, does the season lose points for oh, we already talked about that. Yes, it does. All right. I don't want to butcher this name. Jairo asked, does Malcolm beat Denise at the final tribal based on what we saw? So in a 1v1, whatever, they're both in the final tribal. Let's say the third person is a non-factor because it's Malcolm and Denise.
I think it's Malcolm
beats Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Clan asks, is this a top 5 season for you?
Not for me.
Not for me either. For me, I would say top 20 for sure, maybe even higher, but not top 5. Sam asked, do you think the captain twist this season worked to the benefit or to its detriment, having the returnees?
I think it was beneficial because none of the 3 just immediately left. I think that's a bad twist. If they immediately get voted off, then what's the point of having them?
Or if they completely dominate and the season's just about them.
Right. I think it was a good mix.
It's not. Swan goes early. Penner, all 3 of them are characters. They're not 3 Boston Robs controlling the season, putting their foot down everybody's throats, Whereas like South Pacific was really the Ozzy and Coach show for and like a couple other people, but really it's about Ozzy and Coach. Like this season, like sure they're there and like they do get a large focus, but they're not the focus. The story is not all about them,
right?
And they don't control the game, so I think it works out. Actually, one of the few times I would say it works. I think it also works in Guatemala with Stephanie and Bobby John because again, those 2 are not very good at the game. They were both characters.
Yes,
character returnees work on captain seasons. Gameplay, like you bring back a Sandra and Parvati to be captains. I think it just becomes about Sandra and Parvati.
Yes,
and they could kind of control the game, I would assume. All right. Shay asks, who do you think had the most underrated game this season? Underrated.
Denise. I don't know. I feel like people. I feel like people do underrate her because she did have to play a good game to get where she got. I think she's overshadowed by Malcolm.
I think Penner personally.
Sure.
Penner had to get through a lot to get to where he blew it. And I think Penner makes that final 3 and I think they stick to it, Mary. I think Scoopin brings Penner to final 3. Like, let's say we're in the same situation. Malcolm has won his way to final 4. Malcolm loses because he's so nervous. I think he takes Penner to final 3. And I think Penner wins over. That's how close Penner was. He was a yes away potentially from winning $1 million. Crazy. By the way, Penner and his wife do end up writing a movie called The Bye Bye Man. It's a horror movie, so I know you'll never watch it.
Nope.
It also is poorly received, so don't worry too much about it anyways. But for anyone wondering, Penner and his wife, before she passed away, do make a movie called The Bye Bye Man. Don't think it, don't say it, I think was the phrase of the movie. So there you go. Throwing a fun fact out there. 5RG2 asked, do you think RC could have worked well on the Blood vs. Water season because she was supposed to go on Blood vs. Water married season 27, but her dad had, I think it was high blood pressure or something like that. He failed the medical check like the day before, 2 days before. So they got pulled. That's why she was asked back for second chance. Like they wanted her back. She was going to be on Blood vs. Water. Her dad failed the medical check. So they got pulled and alternates got put in. I don't know who the alternates were off the top of my head. Would you have liked to see her back on Blood vs. Water? Or do you even care?
I really didn't care for RC as a player. So no, not personally.
I think a lot of people find her hot, Mary. And I think that influences a lot of people wanting her back. If I'm being frank, I think she's okay. But like, I'm not like, oh, one of the best merge boots ever. Like Sarah and Kai Gayan made a bigger impact to me.
Yeah.
But also Sarah played after Blood vs. Water. So that's not really a fair comparison, I guess. Okay. Billy asked, do you think this season could have gotten Survivor canceled if it hadn't been good, considering what people mostly consider bad seasons before this one after Heroes vs. Villains? Let's say the season's a one world too.
Well, I don't know because apparently it wasn't bad enough to get canceled. Like I don't remember what was on TV at that time.
Right. This is 2012. So I don't think so. I think that we needed a ray of hope, a beacon of light, and this season brought it. And while for some, Caramone's not a beacon of light, I think this was like, okay, Soraya still got it if they can do it. Right. I think it looks better in context of the seasons around it.
Sure.
That if it had been during a run of good seasons, it'd be like, yeah, that was pretty good. But because it's surrounded by what's generally considered bad seasons, yeah, I think it looks better. Laura asked, do you think Penner will be asked back again? I don't think he'll be asked back again. Do you, Mary?
No, he's probably way too old now.
Caleb asked, would Penner have won if he had taken that final 3 deal Lisa offered to him? I think they stick to it. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they stick to it. I think they were genuine when they asked and he blew it, which is sad. Well, Mary. Next time, Survivor Caramoan. I'm looking forward to this one. It's one of the few seasons you have not seen.
I'm looking forward to watching one I haven't seen yet.
I won't spoil anything. I'm just like curious, like, okay. All right. Well, we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.